I misjudged it. I turned my teammate, and I feel really bad about that. And that's not how I wanted to win the race.
Oh no, contact for the lead! Vincent Soar gets bumped, holds on, sliding, wrecked in, and it's Danny Cochran up front. Yellow flag before the white flag, and it's mayhem flipping. Carnage off of turn number 4. Oh no, teammates. And the 15 here, they come out of the corner, and just like that.
Track down this 46 machine, and right now he's within the draft range, so that he should be getting a good little toe from this far back and not too bad of dirty air. We'll see what he can do is now. And we'll see. Oh no!
Goodness, no! Purposely wrecking him! Oh my goodness! What in the world? Trenton Jump, for the second time he's been dominating a race, gets taken out, but he's not coming back from this one. Contact wiggles, and there goes Tolmich. He wakes the move. Here comes on the inside. Cody Reed's trying for an opportunity. He spins him, but it's going to be Tolmich coming across the line. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Monday Night Truck Racing action on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. It's the ISRC Race Car Graveyard Truck Series for the Blackjack Gambler 150 tonight. It's been hyped up for over that of a couple of seasons. Each time we come to Las Vegas, some little glimpse of drama sparks up, and the big ones strike even bigger. And tonight, there's even a little bit of cash on the line, and we're proud to give you all the coverage here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. For myself, Sam Tyre, I've got Zach Hall with me, as well as that of Robert Moyer Jr. with me, and I gotta say, this is gonna be a good one, Zach, that I'm excited for. I don't know what to expect, except for what we saw in those clips. Big wrecks and a little bit of drama.
Yeah, I think those clips put it in perfect perspective of what Las Vegas has been here so far for the ISRC Truck Series in its first 2 seasons. Well, season 3, could they turn it up a notch? You never know. And personally, from what I've seen, this package looks even more, a little bit more packed up than it has been in those previous years also. So I'm expecting some very tight racing. I mean, we just came off Atlanta last week, a mile and a half. That's very similar to a super speedway style racing. I think we might see a little bit more of that here tonight. Less, spaced or less packed up together there because they have a little bit more horsepower without the restrictor plates on these trucks here tonight. But man, oh man, it's still going to be a wild race nonetheless here in Las Vegas. We've seen through, like I said, the first 2 seasons in that video. It really just has anything around the corner. So with 6 races to go here, including tonight before the playoffs, this could be where someone sets it up here to make that run into the playoffs here after these first 7 races for themselves.
Yeah, we've also had 6 different winners this season. Last week, newcomer to the win column, Christopher Norris, an unknown but a new wildcard race, the New Atlanta, gave us a spectacular race last week. But Zach, I think it lacked a little bit more of the wrecks that we were expecting. We were expecting a lot of wrecks. I was talking to some of the drivers. They might feel like the wrecks we didn't get last week could be trickling in here tonight.
Yeah, I think what led to that mostly is, Atlanta, it kind of loomed as that picture in the mind of the driver saying, man, this race is not going to go well probably for us here. As, just the style racing it is there, I think it scared a lot of drivers into, being a lot more conservative than what we've seen in the past weeks. I think here at Las Vegas tonight, that comes back out because, it's a normal track. Everybody's got their comfort here when it comes to this racetrack. And man, oh man, I tell you, when they drop the green flag, we're going to see that aggression that last week maybe wasn't shown till the very, very end, be shown right here to start this race.
Las Vegas, known for so much chaotic moments in the history of the ISRC Truck Series. But here tonight, it all starts with qualifying. Where do you want to place yourself as the drivers get stacked up and ready to go here in 5 minutes? But before that, qualifying, Zach, they've got 5 minutes. 2 laps to put down their fastest time as we get to watch one of our favorites from last season.
Yeah, that we definitely do, man. And this is going to be an interesting qualifying session. It's going to be close times here, very, very competitive throughout the whole entire session due to really it's going to be wide open here, plain and simple, folks. These guys are going to be able to hold that accelerator all the way to the bottom of the floor mat. And if you do have to lift, you are not going to be anywhere near the front of this grid. So you better hope you can keep it fully matted there and keep as much momentum around this racetrack. So as Breaky comes around here in this 29. We'll see what he can do here. Is, like I said, wide open racing. You got to make it as short away as possible, and you can even see they're out of the exit, not going all the way up the racetrack, kind of cutting in and having a much shallower entry here than what you'll see later in the race, as these guys are trying to make the distance shorter.
Finding their extra speed, as well as you see on these trucks. Some of the trucks are going to be rolling with red spoilers, splitters, and banners. They are running for cash. There's about 15, maybe 16 drivers that are on a list that signed up, pitched in a little bit of money, and said, hey, of these drivers that pitched in money, whoever gets the highest finish will get $170. And Logan Breaky, one of the 16 to watch out for.
Yeah, that's going to be a fun group to watch. You know, we already have Las Vegas with a lot on the line, with playoffs looming here soon with 6 races. You know, this also looms here tonight with the money on the line these guys have put down. So it's going to be fun to see who can take that home. But as the times keep clicking in, Zach Wilson into 51, he's going to put his best time down of a 30.88 to be atop the board at the moment.
Then we're also going to see Brandon Colley up to second, Noah Steele third, and those are some drivers that are hoping to stay out of trouble. They've been caught up in a lot of messes these last couple of weeks, but it's going to be Mark Whitley taking the top of the board for the 77. Well, I mean, now going to be topped by Tom Bourne. It's really starting to shake up, as only that about half the field have put in a time so far.
Wow, and Ferraro going to tie Whitley there for second and come home in third with a 30.86. So great job by the 12 machine there for a qualifying time. It seems like 25 trucks so far have took time, so we still have a lot to go. But man, they've definitely been shaking it up back and forth, and that's what I was saying. It's going to be super close here in this qualifying session due to it being wide open and very similar to a super speedway. Here we see the 6 of Gregory Smith cross the line. See exactly where he comes through. Is he's going to be starting, or that first lap actually coming through at 31.049. That right now is going to put him 24th on the board.
And there's a few drivers that will not be eligible to even qualify, as they're going to be penalized with multitudes of different penalties that these drivers were given, but not able to qualify. Going to be Isaac Shelley, Robert Schmock if he shows up, Jason Tamer, Trenton Jump, Cody Reed, all will start in the tail end of the group, which Jason Tamer, Jump, and Cody Reed, those are 3 very strong drivers that I'm expecting to maybe cause a little bit trouble trying to go through this field as fast as possible. And see a couple of other drivers on track trying to finish out their times. Here they come at turn number 4. Gregory Shaw, hoping he's got enough speed. Cross the line for the 35. 25th on that first lap, and after the second one, gonna be bumping up to nothing. Gonna stay 25th.
Yeah, unfortunately, no pickup for him there. Just a 30.99 for him, so didn't move himself up the board there. But we'll see now what the 41 of Trevor Earhart here has, is he's going to be taking the top groove there, trying to build up as much speed, and that's kind of what I thought we might see from a few more guys. But a few guys elected to run that first lap up top or on the bottom, so I'm kind of surprised they didn't elect to take that long way around to build up the speed. But here comes Earhart. That's the first time there for him by 32.083. Let's see what this second lap is, as he's got it wound up to speed.
He's got it wound up to speed, and a driver that's going to be going for just one lap, that's going to be Eric Stampin at 53. He's going to start probably most likely in the bottom 20s for himself, as Trevor Earhart got that one lap in. It was the slowest of everyone on track so far on their first lap, and he'll be seeing if he could climb up this leaderboard and potentially be up inside of our top 5 of 41 across the line with 4 seconds left in qualifying. And we see the time click in, and it's only up to 24th. A little disappointing for that 41 machine. But Zach, they're also close from first all the way down to 28th position. They were all within 1 to 2 tenths of one another.
That just shows you how close it's going to be when we get going here under green, folks. You're not going to want to miss this here. Is you see this grid's going to be close. This racing's going to be even closer.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be wild, and we cannot wait to get a look at how these drivers are going to attack this. As it's the lap of qualifying results. Getting your full award will be Tom Bourne in the 16, Ollie Fonseca in second. Mark Whitley's going to be in third, with Brian Ferraro in fourth. Fifth is going to be Cedric Hunter. Zach Wilson 6th, GT Rosari 7th, Brandon Colley 8th, Alexander Lake 9th. Finishing out your top 10 here from qualifying, it's Noah Steele.
In the 11th spot, it's going to be the 31 of Danny Cochran. 12th is going to go to Nolan Hicks. 13th is going to go to the 4 of Nick Crawford. 14th is going to be Anthony Gaudio. 15th position going to go to Aaron Kralik. 16th is going to be Christopher Norris. 17th is going to go to Gregory Smith. 18th is going to be the 29 Logan Breakey. 19th is Robert Hattenbach. And rounding out our top 20 is John Forbes.
Going to be in 21st position is John McAdams. Dakota Moniz, 22nd. Ethan Smith, 23rd. Trey Hart, 24th with Mark Morales. Going to be in 25th. 26th is Gregory Shaw. Joshua Freed going to be in 27th. Tyler Dangler, 28th. 29th is Carl Fuller. And our 30th driver will be Jonathan Smith.
And the final 7 drivers here did not take time. Cody Reed's going to be 31st. 32nd is going to be Jason Tamer. 33rd is going to be Kyle Rochelle. 34th is going to be Trent Jump. 35th, Isaac Shelley. 36th, Eric Stamp. And 37th round of the field is Kerry Trebus. We got those guys back there with the penalties.
37 drivers, Zach. Last season, it was 34 drivers that they had at this racetrack. And we were left to just out of 18 that were able to stay on the lead lap. And only going to be just This race, I've been hyping it up. I think all of us have been so excited just because of the drama that always comes around. You think of Danny Cochran. This has been a track that has given him super highs that he saw in season 1 winning this race, and then extreme lows of that of last season. A lot of other drivers hoping to have that giant swing. Maybe they didn't get the finish last season, but they're trying to go for that win this season.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you there. It's been a track of, moments of highs and lows for people, and tonight could be a very high moment for somebody and then a very low moment for someone else. So we'll see if Las Vegas continues that trend of drivers, just going for it. And that's what, I have a feeling is going to happen here tonight. This track kind of lends itself to going for it and trying to go out there and be as aggressive as possible. And I tell you what, it's also in Las Vegas, where you got to gamble. So it's going to be very, very fun to see who gambles with their race truck and who comes out with that trophy.
You might be wondering, who is that white truck? Well, there's been a couple of issues during this session with trading paints, and Tom Bourne's vehicle was not able to come on screen. He is the only driver with the pure white, so that 16 should be Tom Bourne. As I take that back, there's actually a couple of drivers, as we're trying to reload, didn't realize what we were doing, as it's going to be seen that of the 16, only driver that's going to be in white, as we get ourselves ready to go racing. Race number 8 of the season 3. We're past halfway. This is a race that could change your hopes of making it to the playoffs. The Blackjack Gambler 150 for the ISRC Race Car Graveyard Truck Series through the restart zone, and we are green as we head down in turn number 1.
Yeah, great start from the bottom lane there. That's going to pull them a nose ahead with the help of Whitley pushing that 16 out front. The 24 Fonseca, though, trying to hold it on the door panel of that 77 as they come off of turn 2, though. Whitley already looking for the lead here, already on the back straightaway.
Sorry again for all of the trading paints. Seems to be having issues as only a handful of drivers are going to be showing on screen. That's Mark Whitley and Ollie Fonseca. The driver that's on the high side in that front row is going to be Tom Bourne, but this is going to be extremely difficult for us to call now, Zach, as we like to call them numbers and schemes, but it's white car here, white car there, but they're all different drivers on us right now.
Yeah, this is definitely interesting. This guy reminds me of some different situations before where you really don't know who's who. They just got to kind of tell by the lineup. But right now, Tom Bourne's still fighting on that outside groove there, fighting off Whitley and Fonseca. But the group behind him, the first white car there of that on the bottom lane is going to be Cedric Hunter, followed by Ryan Ferraro.
Cedric Hunter is going to be the driver bobbling up and down in 4th position. Then behind them is going to be a cluster of drivers of GT Rosari now going to be moving in. And yeah, this is a little difficult, and we might have to step aside for a quick moment here, ladies and gentlemen, to fix this, as we'll do our best at the moment as Mark Whitley is dominating those first 3 laps of this race.
Yeah, Whitley out to the lead, and it's definitely getting the help of the 24 Fonseca now going to have that 16 slide into position there as they come off of 2. But right there, Cedric Hunter going to be in 4th position. He's got Ferraro there behind him, but Whitley out front now getting 24 to the inside. They're going to continue to battle, but yeah, unfortunately our trading paints here is not cooperating with us.
Our front 2 going to be that of 77 of Mark Whitley, Ollie Fonseca. You also see the 94. That's another scheme. That's going to be Brandon Colley, as it's going to be the 16 of Tom Bourne running right now in that 3rd place position, trying to pick and choose on where to go. That 4th driver is going to be Cedric Hunter, and then it's Brandon Colley in the 94 that you can see on screen. as these drivers continue to try to race this thing out. It's Mark Whitley, Ollie Fonseca at the moment.
Yeah, right now the racing's still going intense up front there with that 77 of Whitley holding on to position. It's that 24 is still fighting along with Fonseca there.
All right, so we are going to take a quick break. We will be right back. We understand Green Flag Racing's underway, but we're going to find a way to fix this so you can see the schemes. We'll be back in just a few moments.
I misjudged it. I turned my teammate, and I feel really bad about that. And that's not how I wanted to win the race.
Oh no! Contact for the lead! Vincent Sora gets bumped, holds on, sliding, wrecking, and it's Danny Cochran up front. Yellow flag before the white flag, and it's mayhem flipping. Carnage off of turn number 4. Oh no! Teammates.
And the 15 here, they come out of the corner, and just like that,
Track down this 46 machine, and right now he's within the draft range, so he should be hitting a good little toe from this far back and not too bad of dirty air. We'll see what he can do. Is now we're gonna see. Oh no!
Goodness, no! Purposely wrecking him! Oh my goodness! What in the world? Trent Jump, for the second time he's been dominating a race, gets taken out, but he's not coming back from this one. Contact wiggles, and there goes Tolmich. He wakes the move. Here comes on the inside. Cody Reed's trying for an opportunity. He spins him, but it's going to be Tolmich coming across the line.
I misjudged it. I turned my teammate, and I feel really bad about that. And that's not how I wanted to win the race.
Oh no! Contact for the lead! Vincent Sora gets bumped, holds on, sliding, wrecking, and it's Danny Cochran up front. Yellow flag before the white flag, and it's mayhem flipping. Carnage off of turn number 4. Oh no! Teammates.
and the 15 here, they come out of the corner, and just like that,
track down this 46 machine, and right now he's within the draft range, so that he should be hitting a good little toe from this far back and not too bad of dirty air. We'll see what he can do. Is now we'll see. Oh no!
Goodness, no! Purposely wrecking him! Oh my goodness! What in the world? Trent Jump, for the second time he's been dominating a race, gets taken out, but he's not coming back from this one. Contact wiggles, and there goes Tolmich. He wakes the move. Here comes on the inside. Cody Reed's trying for an opportunity. He spins him, but it's going to be Tolmich coming across the line.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and luckily we can see the schemes. Now, the white car on track, that is going to be Tom Bourne, but welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sam Dyer, with me, Zach Hall. We got Road Warrior running the productions, and we now can see most of the cars. Again, the white truck on screen will be Tom Bourne. His scheme is broken. It's on his side, not ours, as the rest of the field is out there on track. It's Mark Whitley, Brandon Colley, Ollie Fonseca going to be your front three right now. And now we can see Cedric Hunter and the rest of the field.
Yeah, a lot of drivers making some big moves. Brandon Colley's been the one I've been watching move up from that 8th spot. He's drove his way up to 2nd here. And like you said, Cedric Hunter there, his teammate, also in 4th. So some teammates starting to get themselves up here. And teammate stuff might be a factor here later into this race if you need to help to get passes done. And our pole setter, Tom Bourne, there, he's seen that white machine up top. He's definitely under attack as you got that 51 of Wilson trying to move his way forward, but luckily Tom Bourne holds on to it. But now Irizarry into 14, going to be trying to take a spot on the outside of 51.
And GT Irizarry, he was one of the fastest drivers last season here at Las Vegas. He put down the fastest time of that race. He's hoping to find a little bit of extra speed as we're right on board 51 of Zach Wilson in 6th place. But Zach, here tonight, like all the other races, we do have a stage break. It's going to be at the end of lap 70 for these drivers, as well as no fast repairs and 4 extra sets of tires. So they've got a little bit of wiggle room if they want to use some tires later on.
That they definitely do. And, you know, looking at fuel mileage coming into here tonight, this is a solo fuel run, so this will be a little different than what these guys will get in this pack here. This is the draft's going to help reduce that drag level on these trucks and help the fuel mileage. But 48 laps is what I'm hearing for most trucks out there. So not going to be able to make it to that lap 70 stage, but I tell you what, we'll see what types of strategies they pull off here as we keep this thing green as the race is ensuing. There's the 31 of Danny Cochran trying to make the move on the 14 years old.
This is the battle for 7th place between 14 and the 31. Danny Cochran changing up his number and hoping that will change up his luck here in Las Vegas. He's been caught up with a lot of separate drama. Season 1, it was racing with his teammates. Season 2, caught up in a wreck and then intentionally wrecking a driver. So the 31, hoping the tempers won't be too high, but it's Las Vegas. Sometimes you got to gamble it all, as we're seeing the 4 of Nick Crawford on the outside.
Yeah, you got to give credit to Danny there. He's definitely changed it up here this season and is shown to be, not to have any issues. So, got to give him credit out there as he's going to be trying to do that here tonight at Las Vegas. As Nick Crawford there putting some pressure on that 4 machine, is getting a little close as our Bristol winner there as he closes in that gap there for that spot. But right now, single file for much of this group, but it's going to be really, I would say, all the way back around that 18th spot of Ethan Smith, and from there on back of really the Hornets now starting to brew.
Where we see that Ethan Smith out of Pat back, as well as seeing others of Gregory Shaw in the fray here in the middle of the field. To even the drivers battling for last place, they always seem to put on the best show of us having our cameras on it until it gets to the end when we get to watch our leaders battle it back and forth. But gotta love the fact that they are still racing so hard back here with Dakota Moniz, Logan Brakey, and also Trent Jump, who had to start in the back of the field, could not qualify, was the 46, and 4 other drivers. They just were not able to because of previous penalties from the last couple of races.
And there you're going to see Trent Jump there as he's already made his way up. So 23rd position, really starting to cruise his way forward here. And this guy's teammate a Brakey right ahead of him, Moniz, and they got side-by-side racing right in front of them too. So it's definitely still very, very much a lot of action going on back here. But again, our first about 20 trucks still single file.
Single file, keeping it close, but I think also recognizing that tire and fuel run issue of they're not going to be able to make it to the end of this stage. Again, it's at the end of lap 70 for these drivers. They can't make it that far on fuel and tires. They're going to have to make one stop. They could be thinking for these front row. Just get in line, save your fuel. Middle of the field, though, they know track position can be very important with how these drivers haven't been able to really make as big as passing moves as we've seen some of the drivers up front.
Yeah, and the single file action is really kind of what leads to, my opinion, that not being able to make the passes there. When everybody gets single file, it's a lot easier to keep your momentum. When it's side by side in front of you, you can get big runs on the people who are racing like that. So, you're trying to take advantage of that as a driver there. As you see that on the front straightaway, someone back there trying to take advantage of that very same opportunity. Is, like I said, when you're side by side, the speed difference is just so much greater from that car behind. As you see Forbes, they're trying to make the pass, getting a little tight there off of 2, and they're going to have that run, that outside groove that just helps carry the momentum to clear them.
And the one thing I'm concerned about with how close these drivers have been around one another. Also, this is happening during practice, and a lot of their practice races was, misjudgment on if drivers were clear with one another. Sometimes there were some contacts of drivers thinking that they were going to have a little bit more space, maybe side by side, brush up against one another. It's going to be some factors of awareness levels, trusting your spotters, as well as trusting it if you do have a live spotter, as some of these drivers do, someone over the radio and telling you when you're clear how close you are to someone else. You got to be clear, concise, and react immediately, or we could be seeing our first yellows come from one of these simple mistakes.
Yeah, and again, like we brought up earlier, no fast repairs, so one simple mistake, it could be race over for you. And with only 6 races to go before the playoffs, and, we've got our first 7 done. We're into race number 8 here tonight of the 13 regular season races. You got to start making that charge towards the playoffs here if you want to make that run. So if you're feeling like you're out of that zone, you need to make sure tonight starts that good run, so don't get caught up in anything. We know Las Vegas can be a mixy one for sure, but right now Mark Whitley just controlling the field here. He leading it over Brandon Colley with Ali Fonseca there right in tow.
Yeah, watching these drivers up front, there's a couple of drivers are surprisingly outside of our top 16 in points. Brandon Colley, who's in second, he's outside of our top 12 in points. You've also got Tom Bourne, Zach Wilson. They're both outside of the top 16 in points, so they're going to need to have some better runs. And here tonight, finishing inside of the top 5, top 10, that's exactly what you need to do if you're going to find yourself making it to the playoffs or just get a win. And tonight's looking like a prime spot for a lot of them. They got to figure out how to beat out this 77 Mark Whitley.
That they do, and Whitley's been super strong this season. You know, we've seen him in past seasons, especially be one of the top contenders, and you know, especially in season 1 there, his battles with Vincent Sora, going back to that, is this battle too, going back here, is Nick Crawford going to make the pass on Cochran. They've been battling for a while with him and Irizarry also there, but you know, the bring back of the Mark Whitley thing is just, you know, no wins so far this season, but it's shown a lot of pace so far. Going to be interesting to see, can he finally get that win done here tonight, Las Vegas?
I think also what makes Mark Whitley's run so far this season, he's 5th in points, tied with Nick Crawford on that standpoint. But the 77 started out the first 2 races of the season doing his starting park. He was not even able to truly run at full speed, and he was one of the fastest drivers when he would do his starting park. So Mark Whitley is looking like he could be the biggest threat of those that did not show up for last season, but was there for the first season, was part of that legendary rivalry between himself and Vincent Sora. As this is battling in the middle of the pack, further back, this is for that of 26th position. Martin Morales in this 91, John McAdams you see on the 47 on the high side, and then in new colors, it's Jason Tamer, Eric Stamp here, he comes to the 53, Carl Pooler. Oh, you could put a blanket over all of them with how they're racing right now.
That you really could, and man, you know, Tamer having to start back there due to a penalty. He's back there still around that 28th position, trying to move his way forward from starting 32nd. So it's been a tough night so far to get up positions, and that is one thing that's common here at Las Vegas. It can be very tough to pass. You need a lot of track position because of how vital this draft is here to make these passes. But right now, they're seeing Fuller working that outside groove. He might be able to have the run here for Tamer as he's getting the draft from McAdams ahead.
In the draft, pulling along side by side, it's going to be that of McAdams and that of Eric Stamp. And you got a couple of winners this season in this pack. You got that of Eric Stamp, as well as Isaac Shelley in the tail end of this group.
Yeah, Isaac Shelley's, you know, kind of interesting to see him this far back. Didn't qualify, so not surprised really to see him this far back. But you would think, you know, he could definitely probably put this 98 a little farther up there in qualifying. So unfortunately, didn't get a time in, and had to start himself back here. We'll see if he can work his way forward. But right now, continuously, everybody keeping it green and clean. As the first 28 laps here at Las Vegas have been very, very good, and it's setting up to really be an interesting one here as we near those pit stops, man. Because again, like I said, lap 48 is going to be how far they can go, but I don't think you'll see anybody go that far because they know 70 is the stage. I think you might see the pit stops start to happen around 35.
540 seems like a good spot to try. Others, I would imagine, are going to stretch it out to that lap 48 marker. Just, you know, for those that are further back in the field, banking on yellow to come out, maybe gain some track position that way. As you move back up to the front runners, Zach Wilson, Nick Crawford. Crawford has been the driver on the move of recent. As you look at how Zach Wilson's driving for himself, as gotta say, it's awesome to see how these drivers are driving as we move back to Christopher Norris with his camera on.
Yeah, Norris getting a good shot of him here. Racing is back here in the 38 machine and got the red banner on too, so he's out there racing for the money tonight, seeing if he can put his hands on that pot here at the Blackjack race here tonight for Las Vegas. So, and it's going to be super fun to see if he can pull it off after that win last season in Atlanta. I mean, what a moment that was for that kid. So, congrats to him on that, and now he's just got to focus forward and try to see what he can do in the later portions of this race right now. As he's in 16th where he started.
Yeah, and I mean, for Christopher Norris, last week, complete team effort from that of Snowy Desert Racing. All said, hey, we're either helping Brandon Colley win or we're helping Christopher Norris win, as that of Cedric Connor and Anders Crawford have already blocked themselves in the playoffs with the win. And that team aspect, now they've got 3 of the 4. Next driver to try to help would be Brandon Colley, which Brandon Colley, he's up front battling inside of our top 3. Curious on how well that 94 is going to continue on, because he's had some pretty dismal luck at most parts of this season. He's had some fast trucks, and I feel like that's stated for a lot of fast drivers that aren't inside of our top 16 in points. They're fast, but the luck just hasn't been there.
It really has not. And the big thing for me when I look at a lot of these drivers' stats and stuff, the average finish of a lot of these drivers is not that strong. Even drivers that have finished farther up front. And I think that goes back to even show. I mean, like how you brought up Mark Whitley was tied for 15 points with doing 2 starting parks at the beginning of the season. So it's showing that there's been a lot of drivers having up and down types of week. Really, other than Cedric Hunter and Ethan Smith, it's kind of been up and down for a lot of guys. They've had a lot of highs for some drivers, with good stats and stuff, but they've also had some lows there too. So it's been one of those seasons so far in the first 7 races, and Brandon Colley is definitely one of those lows. But I tell you what, he's got the speed to get him out of it at any point. We'll see if this 94 can get it going. But right now, he's lost that second spot to his teammate Cedric Hunter, who's moved up to second. And it looks like Colley now going to be dropping back into the clutches, maybe a Fonseca and Bourne back there.
Yeah, Tom Bourne in the Ghost Machine, all white, doesn't have his colors. As we get to see Brandon Colley with his driver cam right in second place. It's, oh, no contact! Driver's behind. Ollie Fonseca has made contact. He made the call that he was going to come into pit road and gets ran over by the 14 of GT Rosari.
Man, oh man, that was so unfortunate to see. I'm not sure how that all played out. I'm not sure if it was a miscommunication. Maybe Irizarry didn't hear him. Maybe Fonseca didn't get it through. But man, right there late on coming to pit road and getting that hit from the 14, that's going to be very unfortunate for Fonseca, who was running in 4th, man. That was a kind of a aggressive pit stop there to make it halfway right at the stage, but now going to be losing out on track position.
And now here comes the train of drivers that made it. Oh, Coles as Carl Pooler almost made contact with Stamp there as everyone comes in. And for Ollie Fonseca, talked about drivers that have been fast and have terrible luck. Well, the 24 has been the epitome of that from last season and carrying into this season.
No doubt, Sam. It really, every time he has a good run going, it seems to be something like this. So, unfortunate for Fonseca there is hopefully maybe going to get himself back in position. It's not over tonight. Didn't get, too bad of damage, just all on the back end. And right now, looking at Irizarry, not too bad as all the cautions out of the racetrack.
Yellow flag waves, trying to find out where exactly it is. And no, it's Trevor Earhart.
Man, oh man, and our leaders on pit road.
Again, it was drivers making the call to try to come into pit road. A lot of miscommunication continued on. And Zach, this pit road can be treacherous, but this is the second or third time a driver's tried to come into pit road, and drivers have had to react to it, and the 41 gets turned.
Yeah, this is not what you want to see here. He's going to be right behind Dakota Maniz, and looks like maybe checking up for him. And then, Morales there coming through, just clips the rear end and sends him around. And yeah, just, a stack up there, accordion effect at pit road when people are trying to come down, and Earhart going to get the worst end of it here, backing it into the rear wall, into the outside wall.
And now for Mark Whitley, I believe because he was one of the first drivers to be a lap down at the time of yellow, he'll get the lucky dog spot. But that means when he takes the wave around, when everyone else takes the wave around, he might be even behind those drivers. This is absolutely terrible timing for half the field, but for the half that didn't pit, this is fantastic. Now they just get to come in and they know they're good on track position as well as they're going to have the freshest tires.
Yeah, points leader and 2-time winner this season, Cedric Hunter, he's liking this. He saw Mark Whitley, his competition was ahead of him, make that call to come down pit road. The caution comes out. Whitley now trapped on the tail end of the lead lap, going to have to come back around. And man, oh man, that's going to be a tough ordeal for him because he's got to restart behind a lot of cars and lose a lot of track position. We know how fast the 77 is, but he's going to have to use up them Goodyear tires now if he wants to get anywhere near those positions. So we'll see how it all works out. But man, oh man, this is definitely shooking up the race already.
And a few drivers are hoping to get some black flag clears as you see the wave of drivers out of pit road. And it's going to be that of Cedric Hunter beating out everyone else. And for GT Rosari, didn't feel like he had too much damage, was able to just get out there and start rolling. I think the 14, I went back and looked, I think he might have lucked out on some visual glitches might have happened and gotten no damage after the contact with that of the 24.
I think you're exactly right. That front end on the 14 looks pristine, if you ask me. And if you look at Fonseca's back bumper, it don't look that way. So it's definitely a little bit of a different situation there. And if you're someone like Fonseca who's hit pit road already, what an unfortunate timing for a lot of these guys. it's really going to come back to bite him now. Here is that caution timing really hurt him. Is Tom Bourne, Gaudio, Forbes, Light, Trebu, Shelley, Stamp, McAdams, and Fonseca now 2 down. That's already a hefty price for a lot of drivers who need some good nights.
They are now going to be in a position of just trying to survive. Trevor Earhart did a lap around, was hoping to get at least a lap led, it looked like, for the 41, as now he'll go into pit road to get service done and will stay on the lead lap, as no drivers have required damage after their first accident of the day. But there are drivers that could have some black flags on this restart. That is Ryan Ferraro, Logan Brakey, and Ethan Smith that are all disputing, trying to get their black flags clear. But this is one of those things, Zach, where it's kind of been a wishy-washy thing with black flags. Sometimes get cleared, and sometimes they don't. Yeah,
that's always the gray area, as they say, and that's where the judgment comes in, and that's always tough, as an admin, especially, here at ISRC. There is no race control, form of figure that's sitting here watching this race. These guys are out here racing, actually. And when you're adminning from the race car, it's a lot more difficult because you got to make decisions on a split second and not with a lot of knowledge. So sometimes you can make the wrong decision and sometimes you can make the right one, luckily. But you got to go with your gut feeling and stick to your rule book. And I think some guys pleading their case, but maybe not getting that situation played out for them.
Leading, hoping for the best, as we're going to be having a wide string of drivers going to be taking the wave around for themselves. As it's going to be from 28th position back to that of 36th. All going to be taking a wave around for themselves, get back on the lead lap. And as I say that, though, we're actually going to be 25th place, as Alexander Light was told to go back to the back of the line for himself. As we're stacked up, ready to go, this is the Season 3 race number 8 at Las Vegas, the Blackjack Gambler 150 for the ISRC Race Car Graveyard Truck Series. Zach, that caution came right in the middle of green flag pit stops. Now everyone has done their pit stops. Some are left on being a lap down. Majority of the field is on the lead lap. How would you like to react here, knowing that it's going to be a very fast 30 laps to go? Technically, it's going to be 29 laps to go when we go green.
Well, if you're someone, back farther in that group, who's stuck back there now having to get the wave around, you're going to be trying to go as fast as possible to get that track position back. Because, if you look, Cedric Hunter is the only driver that qualified in the top 5, still in the top 10. So, just shows you a lot of these contenders who have up front and qualified well, out of contention right now.
As the drivers are about to go green, they're all hoping to get inside of the top 10 positions. If you're in the top 10, you get a bonus point. If you win, you get 10 bonus points. If you get 10, you get 1. And it's 1 point difference all the way through. As already drivers getting ready to get rolling, we are green as they go through that of the tri-oval and get prepared to see how they're going to attack turn number 1 on this restart.
Right there, that bottom lane of the teammates of Snowy Desert Racing, they take off there with the 13 in that 94. Brandon Colley there with Cedric Hunter out front. GT Rosario going to fall in line to 3rd. We're going to have Nick Crawford also there in that 5th position. Is Brandon Colley going to look to the inside on his teammate here, looking to get to the lead?
Talked about trying to assist your teammates the best that you can, and Cedric Hunter, with no surprise, going to duck down, try to get in between him, that of Colley and GT Rosario. Doesn't look like he's got the opening, and might have to use up a little bit more of those tires on the outside to make this run, as side by side for 2nd place, and Brandon Colley holds for now.
Yeah, holding on to that spot. Just got Danny Cochran in the 31, winner in Season 1, coming in his way into the picture also, as he's going to look to the outside. Here's already down the back straightaway. Hunter is going to try to close that position off there in a second to the bottom there, 3 and 4.
So here they go, going to be on the riding along with that of Cedric Hunter, getting a good glimpse of the drivers further on back are trying to do. How do you survive up front? As the middle of the field, they're starting to get a little bit mixy as Danny Cochran now ducks it down low, trying to make the pass for 3rd.
Trying to make that pass stick, and it's tough there. That bottom lane in 1 and 2, super bumpy. It's just very tough to keep that truck wanting to roll around there and not wash up into your competition. It's now, even for the lead, Cedric Hunter trying to challenge back to his teammate on that outside groove. As Colley's going to hold the bottom lane, it's going to be Hunter cutting back across the Rosario there in that 2nd spot, holding on to the position for now. But the push is really helping that 13 from that 14. That's allowing them to get back to the outside quarter panel of that 94.
We look at the history here on Freaking Fast Broadcasting of Cedric Hunter. His whole entire career, I feel like watching it, it's been defensive, been holding off drivers, been one of the best blockers in most leagues that we watch. And the 13, I mean, from a team aspect, you look at it, you're thinking maybe the 13 is just trying to get behind the 94. But if anything, it looks like he's just trying to hold off anyone he can to make this outside line work.
Yeah, I think he's just trying to make any little thing work and hold on to what he can, because, you know, if you lift one time, you're going to get freight trained in. So you got to keep as much momentum up as possible. As his teammate's going to slide it up in front of him. He's going to cross him back over there to the inside. They're having some fun out here racing right now each other early in the going here at Las Vegas as we near that lap 70 stage. Brandon Colley now going to slot back in the second. Can he charge back and get a run? Danny Cochran also looking a little feisty there as you got Nick Crawford back there. He's starting to slide back here, trying to keep up with his teammates, but it's the group of drivers on the bottom going forward there with the 46 of Trenton Jump.
And when you see those drivers that are side by side at the end of this pack, those are the drivers that are fighting for 10th place. It's going to be that of Nick, Nolan Hicks, as well as Aaron Crawley, going to be side by side trying to make this lane work. But our biggest mover of the day currently right now, it's the 46 of Trenton Jump, as he had to start at the end of the line with the penalty. And the 46, he is now up to 6th place. Zach, Trenton Jump was one of the drivers that looked like a threat to dominate last season here at Las Vegas, but then was taken out. Now he's up front, and he's trying to get right back to where he was before, leading and trying to go for a win.
And look, also another Snowy Desert race car on the bottom lane there on the inside of Danny Cochran. That's our last week's winner. That's the 38 and Christopher Norris showing up here. So great run again for this 38. Oh, he gets into that apron there. Super careful there for him as he almost slides up into that 31. That could have been detrimental. But yeah, like you said, Trenton Jump, just what a drive from him from that penalty all the way up now into this 5th position. And he is looking to make stuff happen as it's 2 by 2, 4 rows deep.
One caution in the middle of a green flag pit stop, and it changes up everything as it's going to be Brandon Colley, Cedric Hunter side by side trying to lead this thing, and we continue to go side by side, 4 rows deep, as you're going to have Christopher Norris running on the inside. Trenton Jump staying low. Gregory Shaw going to be on the low end, all trying to find a little bit of extra speed, hoping to stay inside of the top 10. And this is looking closer to super speedway racing, Zach, because you're just trusting the lane you're in is the right one that's going to go forward.
Yeah, it's so interesting to see the difference here. These guys knowing this is going to be a straight run all the way down to the end of the stage. The aggression level picks up, and we have 2 side-by-side lanes pushing each other. It's completely different than what we started off with that single-file train. Right now, everybody going for it, looking for spots. As, ooh, a little bit tight there from our front 2 up front as these guys behind are looking to make something happen. As Jump all over the back bumper of that 38.
12 laps on these tires as it's going to be 20 to go before this stage is done. Again, top 10 drivers get inside of that window, and that's why the number 10 position is in blue. That is the cutoff line. Drivers on 10th up to 1st get those bonus points, and you're open, you're there. Right now, it's Kyle Rochelle, who is our 2nd biggest mover of the day, up 23 positions for the 21.
Yeah, you can see that line there as he's holding on to the points right now, and those could be valuable points that make up your season or could make or break your season. So we'll see who is allowed to hold on to those. But Christopher Norris getting a little bit weavy there on the bottom, and it almost washed up in the Irizarry. Now Irizarry back to his outside as it's deteriorating on this bottom lane. The outside starting to form up a little bit better here as this run continues on.
Continues on. It's still side by side. That Danny Cochran going to be in 3rd place, feeling pretty comfortable where he's at right now. With that of Christopher Norris, GT Irizarry side by side. We've seen the push-up action that we've seen from the 38. A lot of drivers starting to feel that action as the full throttle aspect of this race starting to fall off just slightly with the older these tires get.
Yeah, the longer this run goes, the more and more they're going to have to lift, and man, it's going to make the racing a little bit more spread out here as the run continues to go on as we near, again, under 20 to go now. It's going to be 17 to go here into the stage, and still side-by-side racing for that lead, but it's single file from 3rd on back.
Single file, 3rd on back, and now everyone that once was side-by-side trying all different lanes, well, they're trying it again all over the place, high, low, wherever you can find an opening, you place your truck there as you're trying to make the mount to go forward, as it's going to be top 4. Really, I mean, it's crazy to think, Zach, 4 of our top 5 all going to be from the same team.
Yeah, it's really impressive to see from Snowy Desert Racing, and they showed it last week at Atlanta, the good teamwork they had there, and it might show up again here tonight. Again, like I said earlier, right now, Cedric Hunter, Brandon Colley, they're racing each other. It is every man for himself pretty much out here. You're not trying to hurt anything for your teammate right now, but you're definitely not giving in to them. Later in this race, they might have a little bit more teamwork of trying to get in line and work together with each other, because they know Brandon Colley does not have that win to his name. The rest of the team does. They'll be looking to try to get him in the playoffs now.
And Danny Cochran stuck in the middle, third place, just seeing that of no teammates on his end anywhere to be found. But a driver that wants to break up the Snowy Desert teammates, as into the wall is going to be Christopher Norris. Pushed too far, the 38 is lost ground.
Yeah, and I think that might have actually been a little bit of contact from that 46 at Trent Jump just got a little bit free, I think, in the 46 on the bottom lane coming off of the corner, and just could not hold that truck, and actually got up into him, and Norris just hard into the wall for him, as he's going to be well behind now with a major loss of track position.
And now it's going to be a lot more movement up front with 46 dropping back to 6th place. Now Nolan Hicks up to 5th. That'll be right on board. And Hicks is getting a great shot of Danny Cochran trying to split up the teammates and take the lead position. High line's going to be Nick Crawford, Danny Cochran. Then on the low end, it's Cedric Hunter and Brandon Colley, all trying to be up front, maximize those points that are so crucial. Again, Brandon Colley, he's not even inside of the top 16 in points. He needs to have a good night with points for himself if he wants to make it into the playoffs, and everyone else as well, hoping to maximize here before we get to halfway.
Yeah, he definitely does need that good run, and was getting a little close between the action between him and Cochran there. When they come off a 2 there, it was a very tight race there between those two, so could have had some contact as they continue to race. I think Cedric Hunter loves to see this in his mirror. This allows him to really manage his stuff, because like I said earlier, when you're side by side like this, you cannot make pace similar to a truck that has the ability to kind of go low or high here, especially at this point in the run where the tires start to wear and you really have to start lifting.
Another factor, Zach, I mean, how much is the dirty air really changing up for these drivers as we're coming up to the 11 to go marker for this stage?
Oh, no doubt. The dirty air is getting so much more worse. You know, but at the beginning of this run, they had so much rubber grip really from the tires that the dirty air factor and the aero balance of the car really did not matter. So following people was actually better because you were getting that draft. But right now, you would like to be out of the aero wake of that truck ahead of you and just be in that draft down the front or down these straightaways to get as much time. But we'll see who can do it. But look at this big move being made on Kralik there, as that's the 35 of Gregory Shaw there making the move.
It's the battle for 8th place. Both drivers inside of our top 10 and in the bonus point selection. But you want to make sure you don't give up too much time at this point, because the top 7 are pulling away as you continue to bicker back and forth. Here comes Shinji Irizarry, also going to be mixing it up as he's in 10th place.
Yeah, Irizarry here dropping back farther than I thought he would. So kind of surprised by the 14 here falling back farther into this field, as he had some strong looking pace last time we were here at Las Vegas. So right now falling farther back into the clutches of this field. But you know, just to bring up a point about how important track position is, you look to like someone like Mark Whitley, who was leading this race at one point. He's stranded all the way back in 15th, about 3.2 seconds behind our leader. So it's been a tough time making up ground. He has, but it's been a tough time at that.
There's a good selection of drivers behind Mark Whitley. I mean, you got Zach Wilson, Tom Bourne, our pole sitter here tonight, all behind that of the 77 machine, just hoping to get some type of push going forward. And that mixture of drivers that were making green flag pit stops back at that at lap 35 before the yellow came out. Honestly, this is going to be a changing factor. And also, once we go into a stint after the stage break is done, more green flag racing, if we get another green flag pit stop cycle going through, the potential of another wreck also looms even higher.
That it really does, Sam. That pit stop always seems to make that loom higher. So right here, this 3 of Gaudio trying to hold on to position. He had to take the wave also there due to that caution coming out before. So a lot of these guys in this group back here were in that spot, and Ethan Smith in this 0-0 here. Kind of surprising for him too, Sam. He has been struggling tonight here. This has been one of the biggest struggles, I think, for the 0-0 all season long here, after coming in second in points at this point.
And it's not even just that of Ethan Smith. I mean, the whole entire that of the Blackjack Racing team. They have looked so strong these last few weeks, and you would think that they would have came in tonight as one of our favorites to watch out for, potentially a chance to go for a top 10, top 5 of run. And even for John, seeing that of Ethan Smith and John Forbes, they were 2 drivers on my eyes that I was expecting might have been threats to try to win tonight. But right now, just hoping to stay afloat instead of our top 30.
Yeah, right now those 3, at least 19th, 25th, and then back to Reed is in 27th. So just not been tonight for that Blackjack group. So we'll see. It's still plenty of racing here to go, not even halfway yet in this race. As we near towards that point and near towards that stage, these guys are going to have to pick it up a little bit. As you see the 12 Ferrari also back here after his good qualifying spot, man. And 4th, just unfortunate to see it back here in 30th.
Got up again with those drivers that decided to go with a very, quick pit stop. For some, they thought he was going to stay green and didn't, and it threw off everyone's type of mentality on how they were going to run this race. You also see there the 24 of Ali Fonseca just trying to have a decent run for themselves after being caught up with the wreck of being involved with GT Rosari, having to go around the track and then come to pit road, just losing so much time. As these drivers continue to race around, Zach, the time is running out if you want to make it inside of the top 10. And that's where the battle has been looking pretty good on track. That 10th place position of Gregory Shaw is under fire from the 8 of Noah Steele.
Yeah, he's trying to take the spot from GT, but still is trying to take the spot from him. So everybody fighting for those final few positions here in the stages. Our front 7 have broken away from this group here. And, man, they are looking to battle themselves a couple times up there. But it's definitely been hot and heavy right here for these final few positions in this stage. So see if Shaw can hang on, but I think he's thinking bigger pictures of going forward.
Yeah, and at 1 point, so massive. The difference between that of 12th in points right now back to 16th in points, just 2 points in total. So any point is important, meaning this bonus point right here could make or break if you make it into the playoffs. That's why we got to keep our eyes there for a quick second. Again, that's Gregory Shaw trying to hold off Noah Steele and potentially other drivers that are trying to get into the mix. But a driver that's happy that they made it through the first 70 laps here tonight is Logan Brakey, who notoriously was involved with a lot of wrecks these last few weeks. He survived last week, but Zach, the last 3 weeks before that, he could not even make it past that of lap 1.
Yeah, it's really been an unfortunate few weeks for him, but hey, he's running laps here tonight. He's still in the lead lap. He's still in this race, and don't count this 29 out. He could very well be one of those drivers in position here later in this race with some track position to put himself in the right position, because that's how stacked this field is here tonight. As we're on the last lap for this stage, also, he is, this field is so stacked that all these drivers here, when you get back there around the 20th position, it's hard to get back up into the top 10, top 5.
It really is, as up front, it's that of Cedric Hunter pulling away. Danny Cocker and Brandon Colley going to get a little bit mixy, but it's Colley that will take the finish for himself. As at a turn number 4, it's Cedric Hunter in the 13. He'll take the victory here for stage number 1. The 10 bonus points goes to our points leader. As the rest of the drivers pile on through, it's going to be that of Gregory Shaw just holding off Noah Steele by a nose.
Wow, what a job by Gregory Shaw there to get that final bonus point for himself. Well, great stage there to start this race off here in the first 70 laps, and it's setting us up for a very interesting one, to say the least, here. And Cedric Hunter bringing home that stage win as our points leader.
Going to be Cedric Hunter, Danny Cocker, and Brandon Colley, your top 3 from the stage, with Nick Crawford, Trent Jump, Kyle Rochelle, as well as Noah Hicks, Aaron Kralik, GT Rezari, and Gregory Shaw, your top 10 here at our stage break. Stage break sponsored by Larry Art Productions. Go look at Larry Art Productions on YouTube and on Instagram for some great comedy, variety videos, and some great entertainment that could give you a smile here today. Congratulations to that of Cedric Hunter on his win. We're going to step aside, though, because we've got still a half a race to go. And, Zach, I got a feeling this race is going to get even more chaotic as the drivers know that they survived through one stage. Now it's about who's going to get the win here tonight for the Blackjack Gambler 150, as well as there's a little bit of cash on the side. Who's going to get it done? We'll find out. We'll be back in just a few moments.
wrecking, they're splitting, and it's a complete mayhem.
We have a wreck at the front. 19 goes down into the 7, takes out the 00.
They're 5 wide behind for fifth. Oh my, the 5 wide here, this ain't gonna work, is it? They're already wrecking into turn 1, and now coming through out of turn 2. This is it, the Daytona. Oh no, they're wrecking contact. Sets gets into the wall, gonna be scattering on the outside. Drivers on the apron, drivers coming out of nowhere. Edison on the outside, trying to get the win, and it's William Edison stealing it at the line.
Into the wall. The 18 trying to block. 77 to get into the 18. That leaves 3 of TJ Roberts. 17 to Gavin Rogers. 3 of TJ Roberts is gonna steal the win here.
What second fiddle so many times last season. Christopher Wade wins the season 5 Daytona 200.
Drivers, start your engines!
4, 3, 2, 1, green screen. I have no rear grip whatsoever. I'm sideways. Sideways everywhere. Come on, man. Do what you can.
The vibration in this car is the worst vibration that I've ever had, and the shifter's broken again.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the ISRC Race Car Graveyard Truck Series. We're green. My name's Sam Dyer. With me, Zach Hall, Run Warrior in the production booth, giving you all the pictures, cameras, and graphics as we're back to green flag racing after our stage break. And Danny Cochran winning out at our pit stops and leading the way out of turn number 4.
Yeah, he got that lead from the pit stops, and he's going to try to hold on to it now as he's going to have that 13 to Cedric Hunter trying to challenge back for the lead after losing it from pit road, going all the way back to third. He's now going to have that outside move, and a big run for him, man. I'm very surprised. Danny Cochran there maybe just underdrove the corners. It's going to be around the outside, the 13 and the 94.
That's a good way to lose 2 positions in a blink of an eye. Logan Brakey, who had some issues under pacing, is now going to be back out on track, but he's going to be still out with their leaders. He'll stay low, let everyone go high. But Zach, this could get complicated now with the 94, with that of the 29, on track for all these drivers.
Yeah, because once he gets up to speed, he should be able to keep somewhat decent pace with these guys, but here right in tow, and getting loose. Man, oh man, had to save it there. Great job by Logan Brakey there to hold it on the bottom groove and now keep his way straight down the back straightaway, but Brakey's stuff just continuing to go wrong for him here as this season is just turned upside down.
He's going to be 3 laps down after being passed by our leaders and hoping to keep himself out of trouble, as it's going to be Danny Cochran up to 3rd place, but it's going to be that of Snowy Desert Racing once again, back to swapping back and forth, and they're feeling comfortable right now, Zach, but just cracking instead of our top 10. Mark Whitley's up to 9.
Yeah, Mark Whitley's starting to make the charge, man. It was slow but steady, and I got to give him credit because, we've seen Whitley sometimes throw it away. When he gets stuck back in the field, he sometimes gets a little bit impatient and throws it all away. Not here tonight, slowly, methodically working his way through the field and really showing his racecraft here to work his way back up to 9th. And we'll see once he gets close enough to this field, what can he do? But the teammates still battle up front as with Cedric Hunter and Brandon Colley not deciding who wants to lead this race.
Teammates are battling side by side as well. Starting to see some other drivers battling side by side. Nolan Hicks and Nick Crawford, they're going to be battling with one another. But some other drivers, Thad Trenton Jump, Kyle Rochelle, 2 that had to start bat deep in the field after not qualifying. Both are now inside of the top 5, 4th and 5th for both of them.
Yeah, some great movement for a lot of these drivers right here. And, a lot of that came from that group hitting pit road. These drivers stayed out there. That caution came out. They cycled around about 8 to 9 drivers and gained a decent track position, and then they added their pace on top of that, and that equates to the 21 being right up here in the mix along with that 46. So these drivers driving from well deep back in the field, and this is something also from Kyle Rochelle that I've kind of been expecting at some point. This 21, in the past has shown a lot of pace at 1.5 miles, but just hasn't found it yet in this truck series, that maybe tonight could be his time to find that pace he needs.
We hop on board with that of the 21, Kyle Rochelle. He'll move up, move down, tucking and bobbing and weaving and trusting in what lane you're in. And right now, he's going to follow in pursuit of the 31 of Danny Cochran. And Zach, we talk about super speedways and how when you're right behind someone, you really can't see anything in front of you. We're seeing an almost identical situation here with these drivers being so stacked up with one another.
No, we definitely are, Sam. It's very similar. And right now, Colley with the lead, he's going to try to play the Pied Piper and try to guide these guys and control the draft. That's kind of what you do here. And right now, the toughest part about all of this racing right here is it's great for us up here in the booth. It's excellent and exciting. But as a driver, it can get really frustrating because you can kind of get in this traffic jam, as they would say. And you got Cedric Hunter leading that top lane. Trenton Jump there in the second lane, up in that top lane behind him. If he has a run, he has to decide, do I want to try to make this 3 wide? Because if I try to make this 3 wide, most likely somebody's going to the middle of me, and they're probably taking a spot for me. So you usually keep it in that 2 wide position. At some point, we'll see 3 wide jump out there, but nobody's willing to risk it right now to try to lose track position from where they're at. So it's kind of a stalemate and a little bit of a traffic jam when you get side by side like that.
Another thing I'm curious about is for tire saving. We talk about tire saving a lot at other 1.5 mile tracks. Maybe the draft package isn't keeping everyone as close as they are right now, but we always talk about save your tires. Is there any way to save tires when you're trying to keep up with these lead packs?
It is tough when the pace of what you're running will have a lot of effect on your tires. So when you're up here running in this pack, it's kind of hard to save when everybody's running about the same speed. But where that comes in is down to your smoothness with the steering wheel. You know, when you turn that steering wheel left, you're just turning those front tires more and more and putting more wear into the tires and more slip angle, which creates more heat, more tire pressure, which does not make grip. You want as low a tire pressure as possible in those front tires and as less heat as possible, especially when you're turning the wheel too much. So you'll see these guys trying to turn the wheel as less as possible to keep that momentum up. But man, oh man, it's definitely been an interesting race so far with these guys trying to keep the trucks underneath them. But when you're running on that bottom lane like that too, it's tough not to have to turn the wheel too much.
As we're seeing here on screen, it's going to be that Nick Crawford. If you saw Nick Crawford's driver cam that of last week, is hold on that for a quick moment. They're going to be 3 wide battling for second place for a quick moment as we get to see the Meerkats with Nick Crawford. But these drivers, they're throwing it all down, hoping for the best. And there's actually a driver down below with issues. Isaac Shelley might be out of this race as he'll have to take a tow to pit road.
Yeah, Shelley, some reason they're having to hit pit road for himself. So unfortunate turns of events for Isaac. He's out of the race quickly as it's starting to ramp up a little bit here around lap 88 as they thought about 3 wide up front. This back group back here is racing really hard, and it shows you at ISRC they race hard no matter the position.
They are keeping it aggressive everywhere. This is battling for last place, but gotta say, you're seeing all the bumps and the bruises of drivers who try to get aggressive, but it made too much contact. Well, with some of the contacts that have happened, that's why Isaac Shelley is out of this race. He had to dump it out of the way. And also Joshua Freed, he had to park it after internet issues for the 96. He is now going to be done. But up front, scuffling is happening. Mark Whitley has cracked the top 5, and now Trent jumps up to second.
Yeah, Jump has really been pushing it. Oh, no, Rochelle.
What a save by the 21, but here comes another group of drivers. He's got to hold on and be afraid as here comes the 0-1. Kralik makes contact. Everyone ducks low. They're going to go 2, 3 wide, almost 4 wide, as there's the ghost machine of Tom Bourne, and somehow they survive, and what a save by Kyle Rochelle.
That was intense, man. How did Kyle Rochelle save that, Sam? I do not know, man. That was grade A driving, and you know, I think he's definitely thankful for a lot of side force in these trucks as that thing went around. It swung right back into place and didn't really lose too many spots either, man. He went from about that 6th, 7th spot back here to 12th. So hanging on to that truck and doing a great job because that could have been a major wreck.
Yeah, and now he's got to reset and start moving forward, but at least he's got some other front row drivers that know that they've got speed. It's just going to take some time to get up there with Zach Wilson and Tom Bourne. As we talked about on that last green flag run before the stage break came to an end, how the top 7 truly broke away. Well, we're starting to see with that slide by the 21, it's split up these groups. We've got our front 5, and then we've got this group that we see on screen is going to be the battling inside of our top 12, but all being led by that of Nolan Hicks in 6th.
Yeah, and Hicks was the one that actually got into the 21 there as he made a move to the inside. The 21 went to cover it off, and that was the contact that sent him sideways. That was one of the most nerve-wracking moments, I think, of the race so far for a lot of these guys, and Rochelle's probably breathing a little deep from that moment. But right now, at the moment, while that happened, that's really allowed our top 5 to start to break away here, as you see.
They break away. That Trent Jump trying to make the pass over Cedric Hunter, but Hunter swiped that position right on back in an instant. And now it's going to be our front 5 all in line, being led by Brandon Colley. Then you got Hunter, Trent Jump, Mark Whitley, Danny Cochran, your top 5. Nolan Hicks stuck in the middle in no man's land. And then Nick Crawford runs in 7th. And for Nick Crawford, he's hoping that maybe they can get a caution. I think for the rest of the drivers, they might be banking on a yellow to come out. As Zach, this field, they've all used at least 2 sets of tires here tonight. They've only got 2 more in pit road. And we've got at least 1 pit stop to take us to the end.
Yeah, at least 1 more pit stop for sure, man. And it's going to be close to the extent of a full run. I mean, so about 40 laps on tires is what these guys are going to need to do. Probably opening that pit window, I'd say around 110. Maybe some guys looking to go 105, you know, making a 45-lap run to the end. But I think 110 is going to be that perfect region, about 40 to go. You'll probably see pit stops start to happen. So we're going to get closer to that, but It's definitely been an interesting night so far. As Las Vegas, it hasn't had any moments yet, but I'll tell you this much, it's still possible here. You got the drivers with the red banners too right here battling. I believe the front two, Cedric Hunter and Brandon Colley, they're not in it. So Trenton Jump there would technically be the leader of that group.
Yeah, all the drivers that are racing for cash going to be Ethan Smith, Danny Cochran, that of Kerry Tribune, Tom Bourne, Nick Crawford, as well as going to be that of Tyler Dangler, Ollie Fonseca, Mark Whitley, that of Eric Stamp, John Forbes, Cody Reed, as well as going to be that of Mark Whitley and Logan Brakey and Trenton Jump. Jonathan Smith going to be those drivers that are all racing for an opportunity here tonight. So there's a chance that this race, I mean, with seeing Trenton Jump, Mark Whitley, and Danny Cochran that close, they might see, hey, we might not have an opportunity to win this race, but there's $170 on the line. Maybe that's a little bit more valuable to those three drivers that are all still inside of our top 16 by quite a good margin in points. So they could throw a race away.
No doubt about that, because I tell you, if it takes third to get the 170, I think these guys will take third, maybe even first or second, unless Mark Whitley, he probably wants that win. He hasn't won. Trenton Jump hasn't got the win yet this season either. Danny Cochran, but I think they would take that top spot in that group. So we'll see if that's what happens, because right now Brandon Colley and Cedric Hunter out front, but it very well could be a race for the win here at some point, as this race is still got plenty of moments and bumps ahead of these drivers that could cause some type of mistake to push them out of it. So it's just because you're in the position right now as Trenton Jump, it does not mean you will be there when that checker flag flies. So we'll see how it plays out, but Whitley definitely putting the pressure on this 46.
Putting the pressure on, and now, one thing that we do need to bring up is the fact that we are closing in on pit road and pit stops, which means you might want to get some data, and a great way to get that data is by heading over to iRacing iFlag. iRacing iFlag has the data information that you need by going and purchasing their pit road, their digital pit board. That digital pit board gives you great information, such as how many laps of fuel you have left, your usage per last 5 laps that were ran, as well as your weather conditions, ambient temperature, track weather. They've got it all for you to utilize, as well as their patented iFlag virtual flag system, which gives drivers a complete clear indication on what flag state we are on track, green, yellow, or if you even have a black flag, it will let you know. Go over to iRacingIFlag.com and go use our promo code FreakyFast2022 to go get yourself a discount here today.
Yeah, definitely near those pit stops for sure. I think it's about 10 laps out from that window, so we'll see who's the first to jump down there, be the driver to test out those waters. But you got GT Irizarry back here in the 14 machine. He's trying to still make his way forward. As this group, they're trying to make their way up to that lead group. That lead group of 5 trucks did pull away there. But I tell you, Nolan Hicks, Nick Crawford, Tom Bourne, GT Irizarry here, they really haven't let him get away much farther than about a second and a half.
No, we look at the lap times that are being placed right now. That ghost machine of Tom Bourne, as well as the 14 of GT Irizarry, they ran the fastest laps a lap ago of everyone on track. GT does it again of being one of the fastest trucks on track. But I got to give credit to that of Power Shell. He has marched his way back up to 10th place, fell back to 12th after his major slide. He's still not out of this race yet.
No, sir, he is not. He has driven his way right back into position. And after a slide like that, you would think that would have some type of effect on you, but he's definitely looked to keep it going forward. But we talked about that Blackjack racing group. Here's the leader of them. That is going to be that 11 machine of John Forbes. And not been, I think, the ideal night for him. He's in 12th. He has moved his way farther forward than we last checked in on that group, but definitely still not where he wants to be. I think in this 11 is he's still got less than 50 laps here to go for him, but he could very well still march his way up here.
Yeah, and that Blackjack team, they had some very high hopes about tonight. Coming in, sponsoring this race, they thought maybe this was going to be a great night for them to conquer and succeed with potentially a win, but it looks like maybe a top 10 finish would be the best hopes for themselves. As the leader of this second pack getting a little frisky, it's going to be seeing Tom Bourne, Nolan Hicks side by side for that battle for 6th place.
Yeah, that battle for 6 is definitely heating up, and that's going to allow that group ahead of them to get even more far out. But Mark Whitley up ahead of the group in the 77 there. You see him low. It was contact between him and Trenton Jump coming off of turn 2. And, man, oh, man, that really set this 77 back. But as he lost that position to Cochran, he's going to have to try to come back at these guys ahead of him, as, unfortunately for him, it was just slight contact coming off of 2.
Flight contact, but he still has the draft to work with, and I think that's going to be the most important thing for the 77 is he's still there. But Zach, big thing, we are now inside of that window for drivers can make it from here on out to the end of this race, as well as the tires are at the same stage that they were when they first were thinking about making their first green flag pit stop back at that lap 35. So drivers got to be careful not to make any mistakes on these old worn out tires.
They can make mistakes, and right now drivers trying to make big moves. Is back in that 6th spot still is Tom Bourne. He's leading the group. Nolan Hicks there in 7th. GT Azari in 8th. Nick Crawford. You got Kyle Rochelle. That group has just been going at it here right before pit stops, and they're trying to get any little bit of time in position they can right before it, but definitely losing time to that group up ahead who's just single file.
Single file, and it's really helping this group just run consistent lap times, and that's been the key. Be consistent, pull away, and hope that the drivers behind you won't catch up. But they do got to be careful of the 16 of Tom Bourne, because if he starts to gain a little bit more, he could just get a little bit of attack of a trail of the draft, and if he gets that, could slightly start to close in. And if you can put down some fast laps before pit stops, you should be good. As driver goes out in the wall, it's the 21 of Kyle Rochelle.
Yeah, Kyle Rochelle, they're hard into that outside wall, and man, just major damage, and that was some contact there from, I believe, the 51 of Zach Wilson there, as he hit the back bumper of Nick Crawford up ahead and got up into Kyle Rochelle. And Rochelle 2 laps in a row. I think he actually, the lap before, got into the wall too, coming off of 2. So that is 2 laps in a row, but that second hit much harder.
Much harder, and he was given the required damage flag, a black flag with an orange circle. We call it a meatball flag on iRacing, and for Kyle Rochelle, a fantastic save. Try to make the recovery march to come back into the top 6, maybe even the top 5, and it looks to be snuffed out and done. As we look at further back, some other drivers that are racing against one another. It's going to be that of Dakota Moniz as well. It's Kerry Tribune battling it back and forth for that of 19th and 20th, as Gregory Shaw, the first driver to hit pit road, potentially could be the first for our money stop to make it to the end.
Yeah, this is right before that window I would say was opening up, that I think would be perfect. And, really at 102, really 103, you could have made it there as you had a car in the back there getting to the wall. Those looks like Carl Pooler there as he keeps it going. But yeah, that window opened up to about 102, 103, but I think 110 here might have been that perfect region. But I think some drivers are going to elect to take it a little bit farther, as they've tried to keep this or growing their gaps here on the older set of tires.
Well, it's going to be a lot of Blackjack racing drivers that have come into pit road. That of Cody Reed made this stop. John McAdams and now Ethan Smith's hit pit road. On top of that was Gregory Shaw that we gave note of. But more drivers starting to come over the radio into pit road is what they're hoping to do. As we see here, Carl Pooler running back in 21st position, battling with Alexander Light.
Yeah, battling these positions hard. They are right before these pit stop sequences start to run through for themselves. But teammates, doesn't matter. They're battling still, no doubt, here for a top 20, and they're going to try to keep that spot as they got Morales right behind them in the 91. So it's going to be continuing to go for that group as they continue down the back straightaway. But as this is all went on right here, as we look throughout this back group, Cedric Hunter's been able to get himself to the lead in front of Brandon Colley, and they've really opened up a gap back to Trenton Jump about 1.1 seconds. So the front two opening it up right now.
And teamwork, you hope for the best. As we continue to watch, see Carl Pooler for a quick second there as we move up front and see those front two. Colley almost getting to that outside wall. That's a scary spot as more drivers trickle into pit road. Dakota Moniz, Noah Steele, as well as going to be that of Anthony Gaudio, and a couple of more drivers coming into pit road. But this was around the time that we saw drivers hit pit road, make some mistakes, and be ran over after a miscommunication, as now Denny Cochran, as well as John Forbes, Eric Kralik, and a couple of others trickling to pit road now.
Yeah, this is when it's starting to go down. Everybody up in the major positions are hitting pit road, and Windows our leader, Windows our top 5. First one of those was Danny Cochran. We'll see when the other drivers flinch, but at the moment, nobody yet looking to do it.
No one's making the move just yet. But curious on how well they're going to continue to push out. And also a report from Kyle Rochelle. Only was in pit road for a quick margin. It was a quick required fix. The 21 is back out on track, only 3 laps down.
Yeah, only 3 laps down, and I think...
Oh no, 8 machine gonna be sliding. That's gonna be Noah Steele, who just came off of pit stops, and now is gonna be through the grass. And now it's gonna be fine, and are still staying green, but that could have brought out another yellow in the middle of green flag pit stops.
It really could have, man, and luckily for his sake, he keeps it going straight and doesn't hit anything, but it does stay green, so he's gonna lose a lot of time from that. So definitely a tough ordeal for that 8 machine, but staying green at the moment before we hit pit road. And you know, for Rochelle, he definitely looked very, very damaged, so surprised to see him able to get that car back out there. But yeah, that was a quick required repair flag for him.
As now we wait for our top 12 still needing to come into pit road as GT Irizarry makes his pit stop, but it's going to be our top 12 at this current moment with Jonathan Smith back in 12th place. Then you got Tyler Dangler in 11th. 10th is Mark Morales, Trevor Earhart, Pat back, as well as Wilson, Frolic, Tom Moore, Mark Whitley, Trent Jump, Brandon Colley, and our leader right now, Cedric Hunter. All still need to come in pit road, and based off the numbers we were given, they've got themselves about a 5 to 7 lap window before they are going to be forced to come to pit road.
Yeah, that window definitely going to be closing very soon, so they're going to have to decide to do it at some point. And, oh man, I think our leader Cedric Hunter makes the move as he almost lost it coming to pit road, and Trenton Jump does almost lose it. Luckily, I think maybe gets it slowed down, but it's side by side. Somehow does it.
Now, it looks very deceptive, but I got to say, the speed marker of when you got to get down to 50 miles per hour is pretty deep into pits road. So that of the 46 was very aggressive and somehow did not get caught with that of a black flag. And with that aggressive entry, could give him a couple of positions on exit as the majority of our top 5 all came in together.
Yeah, they did, and the top 2 kind of a little bit conservative maybe, as those that Trenton Jump and Mark Whitley both gained a considerable amount of time. It's really going to be interesting to see the race off pit road, but all 4 of them racing off of pit road now. As we look at Earhart go by here, you're going to have those Juniper drivers on the inside here on the apron.
On the inside, after pitting a lap sooner, Danny Cochran is ahead of all the drivers that we saw initially coming to pit road. You see here Trevor Earhart and Brandon Colley slides, goes up into the field, and the 94 brings out the yellow. Oh, and the drag race goes up in smoke as the 94 now brings out the yellow flag, and we had 5 drivers that still had not pitted.
Yeah, this changes everything, and it was 3 wide racing off of pit road. This is, I mean, that was a crazy scene of events here, as I think we'll see here on this instant replay what happened here again on the exit pit road, racing for what would be possibly the spot to run Danny Cochran down here for the lead. And look at this 3 wide action, and I think that 94 just going to get a little bit free here on that outer groove, almost come down into his teammate Cedric Hunter, and he does get into him. That's what actually pushes him back up a little bit and loses it here again, but doesn't get hit by anything. But man, this is very detrimental to them. It did not want to see this happen as they came out of pit road for themselves.
Saw it's going to be sliding up, locking it down, hoping nobody's going to make contact with you. And drivers going up, down, all around. They will avoid that of the 94 after a very scary situation that now puts us into the spot. And I got to say, Zach, impressive nobody hit him, but I got to say, this puts everybody in the worst case scenario they were hoping for. This is going to put us in a less than 30 lap dash to the end with fresh tires on top of one another. This is kind of looking like a recipe for the big one that we always see here at Las Vegas.
It definitely is setting its way up for that. And, you know, also drivers getting wave around. I believe Danny Cochran's going to get he's going to get the lucky dog, I believe, actually. So he gets back around. But the thing about for him is he's not going to most likely be able to come to pit road here either. So he's got a little bit older tires. Nick Crawford going to be that leader and winner from Bristol. He's very well sitting in a good spot. Robert Hattenback, Trevor Earhart, Jonathan Smith, Mark Morales. Our top 5 is going to be a lot of drivers looking for some for a win. As Nick Crawford's already got it, they could be some hungry ones looking from behind, looking to get out front.
And also curious on how these drivers are going to attack on the fact of, you look at the field, for those that wanted to get tires that already came into pit road and were going to have to take the wave around, they're left with one set, and they're going to have to stay out to make sure that they've, get back on the lead lap. But I would imagine that group is hoping for at least maybe 2, 3, maybe even 4 laps of green flag racing, then a quick caution to allow them to get back on track with everyone else with tire-wise.
I think you're exactly right there, Sam. It's going to be a very, very interesting time when it comes to different strategies, different type of pit strategies all going throughout for these drivers. But if you're out there for yourself looking for a button box, folks, we got the perfect one here at Admin Box. That's right. It's race control at your fingertips. It's built by iRacers for iRacers. It connects via USB and has pre-programmed commands that give you race control functionality, driver functionality, and pit options. So make sure you head on over and check out that button box. It's got great visible buttons with LED backlighting, and you're definitely going to want to check it out. So head on over there, use that discount code FF/BOXX for that discount, and then also go to adminbox.com to use it. So thank you to AdminBox for being a sponsor at Freaky Fast, as we're under our caution here.
Thank you to all of our amazing sponsors we have here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. The last one we have is Advanced Sim Racing. Advanced Sim Racing is the fastest growing North American sim chassis manufacturer and digital motorsports equipment retailer out there. Go use our promo code FreakyFast5 for 5% off. I gotta say, Advanced Sim Racing, it is shocks. Every single time I go to their website, they've got things from steering wheels, they've got, any type of stands you need, modder stands, as well as just, like I said, their chassis manufacturing business. They've got some of the best out there. So go to Advanced Sim Racing, get yourself set up, and you also get your admin box, your iRacing iFlag, they all attach to Advanced Sim Racing. Thank you so much to all of our sponsors. As we get ready to get rolling here, Zach, less than 30 laps to go. Our front 4 going to be in pretty good shape with tire-wise. Everyone else is going to be about that of 4, 5, even more laps older tires. I mean, this puts, just like how we saw last week, Christopher Norris, the underdog winning. This puts some of these underdogs in a great position.
It really, really does. And look at this here. This is the interesting part about this all playing out here is you see all those drivers here behind the pace car. That is all the drivers not taking away. The rest of the field is pretty much being waved around. So going to have all different types of mix of strategies. Like you said, some drivers on older tires, some drivers on tires that just came out of pit road. But because of that, they've lost a lot of track position. I look back to like Cedric Hunter, Trenton Jump, Mark Whitley right there. All of them come down the pit road together. They wreck coming off a pit road. And now they're going to start 14th back here on this this restart. And they're going to be single file here also as they get waved around.
They're all still trying to catch up to the tail end of this group as we're just entering turn 3. Some of these drivers are still at turn 2. Like, this is some of these drivers are going to be in a very bad spot. That's the one neglecting spot that most drivers don't think about when you got a lot of drivers with wave arounds, is you might be in a worse spot than if you just waited to be a lap down. As drivers are set, ready to go, second on track, yellow is done. It's time for us to go back. Green flag racing for the Blackjack Gambler. 150. Nick Crawford leads the way as the rest of the field, they're all single filed and hoping to just close up the gap.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting to see what kind of moves are being made as you're going to have Trenton Jump, Cedric Hunter, and Mark Whitley on some of the freshest tires back there trying to charge through the guys who have older tires than them, while the group up ahead tries to build the gap between them to them. So it is going to be a wild last 30 laps here, folks. Enjoy this one.
And you also are going to have that Brandon Colley, Ollie Fonseca going to be at the tail end of this lead group. Their goal past that of Nick Crawford and then get a yellow, and it will put that of Brandon Colley back on the lead lap. And Ollie Fonseca then can take a wave around. But as our leader races on, others say it's time for me to get aggressive. Danny Cochran throwing it 3 wide, trying to get by his competitors. And now going to be seeing that of Jonathan Smith trying to stay off the outside wall, and will be able to do so for now. But it is chaos with a new batch of drivers that we really haven't talked about all night long.
That we have not, and man, it's getting a little bit chaotic for sure. As Hattenbatch there had a big moment, got on the apron, he gets shoved out to the top. That's going to allow Cochran to go by, and now Fonseca also. But like we said, Fonseca 2 laps down, so not in for position, just here battling for the physical position on track. So right here, Side by side still is Hattenback looking to maybe make a move on Cochran as he's going to dive to the inside of Trevor Earhart. A little bit of a late move.
And what's incredible about watching this run for Danny Cochran, he is on the oldest tires of the drivers in this pack right now, and he's making the most aggressive moves. I think, Zach, it could be the factor of him having the oldest tires. He feels like he needs to get aggressive here.
I think he does, because if he gets some positions here, we get a caution here at some point. The farther he is ahead, the better the track positions he'll have when we come back down here to pit road to get our last set of tires possibly. So I think that's what Cochran is playing out in his mind here, trying to get as many spots as available, because he knows at some point it's inevitable that he falls back forward here with these older drivers.
Danny Cochran, the only driver racing here tonight that is trying to become a two-time Las Vegas winner. The first time was season 1. He was triple overtime, made contact with his teammate, and now down below, trying to make the pass for second with 24 laps to go. Still feels like forever until this race is done, but it's kicking up. Who's going to be there at the end? As right now, it's Nick Crawford defending, but there's the 31 as we're running on board with Mark Morales.
Yeah, Morales needs this, man. If he can go out and get this victory, this would be a big deal for this 91 crew, but loses that second spot is now Cochran going to be all over the back deck lid of the Ford machine up front. It was almost contact between those two, but Danny Cochran doing everything with the older tires as this group has been wild. The group behind him has been doing the same thing, so it's all over the racetrack as Morales up into the wall.
Morales up into the wall, and now he's got to be careful because he's going to be slow coming up to a group that's been 2, 3 wide, almost 4 wide at times. Here we go, and oh no! Mark Whitley gets spun! Others, the yellow flies! And just like that, that's the exact caution everyone was wanting to have, but Mark Whitley didn't want to be involved with.
Yeah, Mark Whitley once again just nowhere to go for himself, involved in an incident, and that is just an unfortunate scenario for Whitley, who's had a great race here tonight and looking for, again, that first win, but not probably going to be able to do that here with some considerable damage on the nose of that truck as he tries to come back around for position.
And it was all contact between the 77 and the 35 of Gregory Shaw, and Shaw losing the most positions out of that interaction. But now it's going to be less than 20 laps to go. Everyone still has a set of tires in pit road to work with. But now's the big question, Zach, of who takes tires and who doesn't.
That is the huge question, Sam. But, you know, the thing is, you got 20 laps here to go. I think if you're going to make the decision to want to use that last set of tires, you better make that decision now, because, you know, we did have a few laps there on the green, so there's going to be some wear. I think guys like Danny Cochran and anybody else who has a lot more wear on their tires, they're probably going to be a no-brainer here. Some guys might elect to wait, but, you know, it could be too late here if you don't come this time.
Nick Crawford pointing the nose down, and he was thinking about faking it. Trevor Earhart's going to be faking it, and the rest of the field stays out most likely. A couple of lap drivers going to be trying to take the wave around, but Nolan Hicks, John Forbes, Anthony Gaudio, they'll stay out on track.
Well, we've always said that Las Vegas is wild and you don't know what's around the corner. Well, Season 3 might be heating up to lead to that dramatic of finish that we are so used to here at this Las Vegas Motor Speedway. So we'll see very well how this plays out. But with the different strategies right here, this is going to be very, very interesting with Hattenback out front. And also, can say the 4 of Crawford out, who came in the lead on pit road, he made a mistake coming into his box and lost a few spots exiting.
And as well, this is a lucky moment for Brandon Colley, because this should put the 94 back on the lead lap, as he should be getting the lucky dog spot. And then Ollie Fonseca was hoping to take a wave around, but because some other drivers did not come into pit road, that 24 is in a tricky spot where he might be able to take the wave around because he's ahead of everybody.
This is a little bit of a tricky situation, definitely. Here's, I tell you, it's going to be interesting to see how long the tires out front can hold on, really. It is a difference, but with the cool down phase here these guys are getting, and if we get a few cautions, it might not be too big of a difference. So this very well could get very spicy, folks. So I'm telling you, these final 20 laps here as we continue to pace, it's going to be probably the most exciting points of this race with all these drivers on different sets of circumstances, and that's what leads to the craziest moments.
Well, Zach, 2 tires. That is what we're seeing from the 2-tire king of Ethan Smith, as well as 4 other drivers with him. Tom Bourne came in for 4 tires. Jason Tamer took 4 tires. Eric Kralik took 2 tires, as well as Ryan Ferraro. Trying to get as much track position, but will it be the right call instead of trying to take the 4 and trusting your skill to drive through this pack?
It's always a good question to see, and I've talked to a few drivers. They've talked about how this truck has been a little bit tight, so that can loosen you up just a little bit. Having a little bit less fresh left sides, this very well could be what Ethan Smith is looking for. Maybe that's what he was struggling with tonight, was the balance of the race truck, and we've seen him before be very, very good in this same situation. So we'll see how it plays out for that 0-0. But I mean, if anything, it's a big win for him, because at one point in this race we were talking about him running back in about 25th position and not really contending in this race. Now he's got a chance here to get some great points.
As we are about to go green, it's going to be about 17 laps to go, and man, it's going to get crazy for these drivers. We're excited up at the booth. Hopefully you're excited down in the chat. Like, share the stream. We are so excited that we've got so much more racing action on Freaky Fast to be giving you throughout the week. We got the Full Send Racing Series tomorrow night, the Wicked Racing Series on Wednesday, Stars and Stripes on Thursday. We got Friday off, and then we're back with racing with the WSSR Roasted Gems Cup Series, and then the season finale going to be on Sunday night for the 802 Next Gen Cup Series. So we are busy all week long, so remember to subscribe, hit that bell notification. And Zach, the lights are off. Ollie Fonseca was able to take that wave around. Will be at only 1 lap down. Brandon Colley is going to be back on the lead lap. 31 drivers set and ready to see if they can get the win here tonight.
And the money on the line here. Who's going to be in position to win that? We'll have to see how it all shakes out once this all comes to a close. But I tell you what, with them lined up right now, the nerves are flowing for these drivers. They know this is the moment, and they know how wild these races have been here at Las Vegas. I think that's probably replaying through a few of these guys' minds. This very well could come to be one of the best finishes of the season.
ISRC Truck Series likes to thank their sponsors as well. The Race Car Graveyard, great place to start your diecast collection. Go to Instagram at Race Car Graveyard. Also LP24 Clothing, Laugh Lap, the qualified sponsor, stage sponsor of Larry Arts Productions, as well as that of Morecast, Colored Teal Graphics, LP24 Clothing, 213 Simware. Are you ready for 17 laps of unknown? Some have fresh tires. The top 5 have old ones. Will they survive? Time will tell, because it's 17 laps of gambling, and we're back to green flag racing here at Vegas.
And that bottom lane took off with Hicks trying to get an early jump on him, and John Forbes now going to hold on to second, but Trenton Jump going to be in the top side there in the 46 machine alongside the 3 at Gaudio, but behind him is the Hornet's Nest. It's breeding, and everybody trying to go forward.
And watch out, it's going to be the first blue driver on the outside. That's the 0-0 of Ethan Smith, who's trying to make the moves. Then the next blue driver is going to be that of Danny Cochran, trying to make those 2 tires work for the 0-0. Some are on 4 tires, but contact might be looming with how jam-packed they are going on the apron. And there they go, Zach Wilson, contact for the 51. Will he stay on the apron? He does for now. We continue to race on. 16 laps to go in the 51. Just saw his hopes for a top 5 run go out the window in a blink of an eye.
Just like that, but a great save from Zach Wilson. Could have easily wrecked that machine. Did a great job to save it and not bring out a caution here for this event. But man, oh man, the racing up front. Jump all over the back deck lid of the 11 as he pushes Forbes out front. They're going to be looking to maybe make it 3 wide as I tell you what, Jump is looking to get that win here at Las Vegas.
Nolan Hicks, he's been also hoping to find himself in a victory lane, if possible, here with the oldest tires on that 86 machine on the outside. The second oldest is on with John Forbes, who leads the race. Then Trent Jumps got the 3rd oldest. They're going to be 3 wide, squeezing it down below, and it's Ethan Smith, 2 tires, 4 wide, and oh no, Hicks holds on. He'll keep it straight into the wall for a quick moment. Somehow they hold on. No, they go. Tamer spins into the grass. We stay green. Zach Pandemonium with 14 laps to go.
everything happening here on lap 137, 14 to go, and it's all going wrong for a few drivers out there. Hicks going backwards, Tamer in the grass, and right now it's spreading out too, as it was 3 wide there, but I don't think they got the memo.
It's going to be John Forbes leading the way. The oldest tires of those that decided to stay out is going to be having to hold on to the driver that went gutsy. 2-tire call was for Ethan Smith. 2 tires was the call for himself, and it might be the best call because he's heading for the lead. It's a 0-0.
The 0-0, again, the 2-tire strategy. We always see it from him, and right now, pulling to the lead, but look behind him. Here comes the 4, Nick Crawford. He's on 4 tires. He's pushing the 11 down the back straightaway.
The Meerkat's coming, but yellow flag's going to be thrown, and it's a late yellow going to be thrown for a driver that was off track on the apron, and it's going to reset everything. I believe it was Kerry Tribute, but because it's an admin thrown yellow, we will not have the replay, but it was the 7 on the going to be through the grass, but it was a half a lap already done and dusted. And it was a weird, it sounded like drivers were screaming for a yellow, and then the admins threw it there. We saw the same thing like this, Zach, back at that of Daytona at the start of the season. And once again, a yellow thrown that changes everything late.
Yeah, that's an interesting call there. You know, it was a 2-truck incident. Really, one truck saving it, the other truck spinning down in the grass, and kind of understand the no reason for the iRacing caution there. But man, oh man, sometimes you plead your case enough, you might get it. So, man, this is going to change the whole complexion of everything now as it brings everybody to a crawl.
You're now to a crawl, and now it's going to be a lot of questioning of how do you want to react for this race. And honestly, Zach, a lot of questions are going to be on who can get this thing done. With the admins throwing this yellow, it's now going to be less than 10 laps to go and we go green again. And it's going to be Anthony Gaudio who has to come to pit road for the 3.
Yeah, Gaudio having to come down there, and this is definitely set us up for a bit of a more weird scenario, and it's going to help a few other guys. You know, Nolan Hicks, that was unfortunate for him being up front and having that incident happen on the bottom there for him. He's going to have to come to pit road and get some damage repaired for him, but it at least allows some of these guys who like Hicks, you know, Tamer, who are involved in those incidents to get on pit road, get their truck a little bit fixed up, and try to get some more positions back, because before they would have been pretty much finishing at the tail end of this lead lap. So that caution is going to help them, but up front, Ethan Smith getting to that lead, that definitely plays out well for that Blackjack group, and they got John Forbes there with them, and you know they're always playing, you know, working really well together on the restarts and you know, really playing those games there. So I think, you know, they very well could try to do that again here and try to mix this up.
We're going to wait until the 1 to go marker is shown so that Ethan Smith's able to choose what lane he wants to place that 0-0 in, because it's going to be a very important restart for himself. And then I want to talk to that 0-0 because once again, taking the 2-tire strategy, a couple of other drivers try to follow in suit with him, but they haven't been able to go through the field as quick as Smith did for himself. But Zach, I mean, for Ethan Smith, once again, I feel like every time he tries to go for the 2-tire strategy, he finds himself in a victory lane.
It's really been like his golden ticket, you know. It's almost a meme at this point. So he's done it to perfection. We'll see if he once again can kind of keep that similar style thing up. And you know, it doesn't surprise me too much. It's something I think a lot of drivers don't utilize enough personally, because it can have a profound effect on your balance. Now, there's limits to that change too, because you know, if you go out there and you're looking to run a 30-40 lap run, you're probably not going to be wanting to put 2 tires on your car, because at some point that 2-tire effect will start to slowly slip away, and those lefts being very hurt will only hurt you longer into the race. So right now, I think for the shortness of these runs, it's not a big issue. So Ethan Smith, again, playing it to perfection and taking the audible call there late in the race to say, man, this is the 2-tire time here.
Well, you know, another thing that could be thrown out is for the top 3 of Ethan Smith, John Forbes, and Nick Crawford, they kind of pulled away because of all the fiasco of everyone being wrecked, spun around, and the breakups that were going on. Those 3 were kind of pulled away from Danny Cochran. Cochran was starting to close in on that gap, but if you were the leaders 12 laps ago when the yellow came out, I mean, would you have preferred to have this yellow come out now for Ethan Smith if you're in his mindset of having only the 2-tire strategy? Or I would imagine if he would preferred to stay out on a longer run. Same thing could be said for John Forbes, who's out there with 28 lappable tires.
Yeah, I don't think they wanted the caution, especially the gap they had for sure. And just this whole bringing everybody back together was very spaced out with how those events played out there late in the go. And so I don't think they really wanted this. I think they wanted it to play out actually green.
As Ethan Smith has made his choice, he's going to be on the outside lane. We're going to bring in the 00, get his thoughts on how this restart's going to go. Ethan, it's Sam and Zach up in the booth. You got us?
I got you loud and clear.
Well, you go for the two-tire strategy. We've seen it work many a times before. How are you feeling right now, though, on this restart?
I am terrified. With Danny and Nick behind me, I'm scared. I know my teammate's next to me. He doesn't have as fresh of tires as I do. So that's why I'm running up high, is just to try to slow them down from getting a run right off the start. I'm confident, but honestly, I'd love another caution, so it's a green-white checkered. I feel confident if it can go green-white checkered.
Well, I tell you what, Ethan, man, you're probably going to need some luck here, but I tell you what, best of luck to you.
Thank you.
Good luck, Ethan, as we get ourselves ready to get ramped up. It's going to be 8 laps to go here for the Blackjack Gambler 150. We threw out where the heck was Blackjack Racing when it was about that of 50 laps into this race. They were back mired 25th, 30th. They were struggling to crack into the top 20. But with 8 laps to go, they are in the front 2, trying to control this race, control their fate. They couldn't get it done last week. We'll see if Las Vegas is the time for it, as we are green for the Blackjack Gambler 150.
That worked out well there for that 00 there as he jumps down to the inside line. Teammate Forbes slots in the third, and Danny Cochran, though, the one on the attack here in the 31 machine, as Nick Crawford really lost out there on that restart as the group behind him really starts to battle down the back straightaway. Danny Cochran making the big move down the back straightaway here to the inside of Forbes, and they're going to make contact, and oh man, Forbes going backwards. Crawford trying to make the move to go around it, but he gets stuck behind him. It's going to stack this whole field up.
Crawford from 5th all the way back to outside the top 10. We're side by side for the lead after the bump by the 31. Looking like shades from season 1. Wasn't as big of a wreck, but they're wrecking behind.
Yeah, and in the grass, a few trucks back there is, I think it was Kyle Rochelle. No, sorry, not Kyle Rochelle. It was like Gregory Shaw on the 35, yeah.
Zach Wilson both made contact with one another. That's what's going to bring out a yellow here. And because we're getting closer and closer to the last aspect of this race, there is overtime if needed. If we get ourselves a caution, as I believe we're going to be inside of a regulation here, Zach. I think this is going to be a green-white checkered inside of our 150 laps once we go green again. But if we get a yellow immediately, we'll go into overtime, which we have 3 attempts if needed.
Man, and that was intense. You know, Danny Cochran got to the lead in that whole situation there as the caution came out, and he, just got it as that caution came out. He had the run down in the 3. Did not lift. Forbes closed the door, and they made the contact there and kept the run all the way out of 4 and made the pass on the 00 Ethan Smith there to get out front, but now it's going to be the question, how does this next restart go? You got Earhart up here, jump up to 4th, Bourne up to 5th, and also Cedric Hunter now back up to 6th.
And also want to give a note, we do not have the replay for that last yellow, but it was contact made by the 35 and the 51. They were about that of 3 wide coming out of turn number 4. Gregory Shaw got bumped into the grass. Zach Wilson got loose, and then they both made contact through the grass, bringing out the yellow. No one else was involved with the incident, just the 51 and the 35, as we get set up and ready to go for this run. Again, big thanks to the sponsors here for the ISRC Race Car Graveyard, as well as LP24 Clothing. LP24 Clothing is a store that offers great quality and affordable prices, whether it's hats, hoodies, t-shirts, beanies, whatever you need to find and look great in. They got all kinds of colors and sizes as well. Go to LP24 Clothing on Instagram, and that is the LP number 24 Clothing on Instagram to find more information and make your order today. As well as plenty of other great sponsors, the Laugh Lap qualifying sponsor, as well as Larry Art Productions, Morecast, Color Teal Graphics, and 213 Simware. Zach, this race, I know we've said it a lot, but so important and impactful, especially with us closing into the playoffs. Danny Cochran, Ethan Smith, Trevor Earhart. Earhart's probably the one driver that's really hoping for a good run. Tom Bourne in 5th place needs a fantastic run here tonight as he's outside the top 16 in points. This is when things get intense, especially with how this season's going to look closing into playoffs time.
Yeah, I mean, if you're ever going to make a run for the playoffs and try to get into the top 16, tonight is probably the time you want to start doing that with only 6 races to go, including tonight. So, you know, it's winding down. The season is getting to that playoff portion of it, and if you're not starting to make that momentum towards the front of this field and starting to put together consistent finishes and survive some of these races, then you will not be a part of those playoffs. It's a very stacked field and super close throughout the whole entire, I mean, really, I mean, all the way from about the 8th position on back in points. It is a log jam. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see how it plays out in these final couple ones. But stages matter, finishes matter, everything out there matters in these final 6. And right here on this restart at Las Vegas, we're going to see some guys gambling because, remember, $170 on the line. We got 2 of those drivers on the front row, and then Trenton jumped there in 4th.
And then you also have Tom Bourne that's kind of trying to go for the cash as well in 5th place. A lot of different drivers. Again, majority of them having the red banner over their windshield that you see there, as well as the red splitter and spoiler, indicating that they are eligible for the 170 laps, except for that of Jason Tamer and that of Brandon Colley. Both of them have red spoilers, but that's just because their schemes are met with that. As Zach, we talked about the races and how this is closing in. Those final races, they all have history as well for this series. We got Dover, who I thought had the best finishes, or at least just clean racing we got to see last season for Season 2. Texas, probably one of the most memorable moments for Season 1 came from that track. Watkins Glen had history of Trenton Jump being involved with some wrecks there. Then we got Charlotte and Nashville Superspeedway to finish out the regular season before we get to probably one of the most chaotic playoff schemes and tracks that I've ever seen in any league.
Yeah, I tell you, I really can't wait to see how it all plays out when we get there, because it's, you put the down the head there with wacky, because it's off the wall. And I mean, even, you know, we got a lot of history with the tracks coming up, but again, the playoffs, just so many different tracks that, you know, maybe drivers are not the most used to, maybe might not be in their comfort zone. So they better be preparing here late into the season as they head down to that portion of it, because this schedule is going to get tougher and tougher as the seasons or the weeks click away. And I'll tell you what else is going to get tougher and tougher is this finish of the race as we get closer and closer to this green flag.
As these drivers, this is inside the regulation, green, white, checkered. It's going to be 2 laps. If we get to the 1 to go, we race it to the end. But if we do not get that white flag in the air, we go to overtime for 3 possible attempts. Here tonight, it's going to be Danny Cochran taking the lead, Ethan Smith to the outside, Trevor Earhart, Trent Jump, Tom Bourne, Cedric Hunter, your top 6. We are green for the Blackjack Gambler 150. Is this the final restart? Time will tell, because with these drivers already 2, almost 3 wide deeper in the field.
Yeah, Danny Cochran jumping out to a big lead. I don't know if this is going to be the best idea for him there, as we know how powerful that draft can
Yellow.
be. Oh, yellow immediately.
It's drivers back in 30th position, bringing this out. Talked about deeper in the field, 2-3 wide action, and it now puts us into overtime.
Yeah, I think 7 of Kerry Trabu, also Christopher Norris involved in this. Is we're going to bring up that instant replay back here and going to kind of see exactly what went down. The 38 Norris comes down the racetrack in front of that 7 of Trabu, and from here Trabu going to make the late move there down to the inside and very late into the corner, and then kind of come up into the quarter panel of that 38 and kind of get into them. They're spinning them out across that racetrack and kind of just bringing out a little bit of a silly caution here late in the going.
And that is what the caution that's going to bring us into overtime, which we have 3 attempts if needed. And Zach, I mean, no one's expected to come into pit road unless you've got required damage. And for Kerry Tribune, I believe he might have taken off too soon. He was given a black flag during that yellow.
Yeah, definitely going to be having to serve that there for himself, as he's got that black flag. But I think this just this helps Danny Cochran's case a little bit more here. I know it was going to be kind of a similar situation there, but he now knows exactly how these guys are going to play it out, but they also know he went kind of early there too. So can he time this restart well again and put himself in a good situation will be the question coming down to the end, and get his second win here too. That would be a big deal.
Be a massive deal for himself. I mean, trying every little bit and piece to get wins. We've seen a lot of leagues where drivers have been winless for the longest time. Get your first is always nice, but to know that you can win multiple times is always a nice feeling, especially at these mile-and-a-half tracks. That's not the new Atlanta, where it feels like you do have to put a little bit more skill and more care on your tires.
No, definitely, Sam. It's one of those situations for sure. And you know, I look at Danny Cochran out front leading. He's had a very interesting season, I'd say, up to this point. I mean, really, it's been either a good run for himself and some decent speed, or he's been wrecked out in a race. So here tonight, he's trying to change that all around and go for that first victory of the season. And it's kind of crazy to say, even through the first 7, he's only led 5 laps, and that was at Sonoma. So getting some extra laps led here tonight at Las Vegas.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like for Danny, it's been a complete switch up on how he's wanted to attack this season. He was taken out so many times in the first 3 races of this season, and then he also was placing himself deeper in the field. He was just having bad qualifying runs, and it's crazy to see, but it's kind of a thing to be known. If you're with how large of a field the ISRC has become over these last 3 seasons, it's kind of makes sense. If you're not qualifying up front in the top 10, you're in trouble because everyone is racing and as hard as they can, and sometimes they put their elbows out and are willing to give body slams that can ruin your night.
Yeah, these guys are definitely not afraid to do that and get a little bit of extracurricular activities going on, you know, carried into the next week. So it definitely is always fun to watch here on Monday nights. It makes it interesting for us up here in the booth. These guys that are willing to risk it. And I think you're going to see a lot of risk here. If Ethan Smith gets a shot, if Trenton Jump gets a shot here, if Tom Bourne gets a shot with $170 being on the line, I don't know what we might see. It could get very, very interesting, folks. I'm telling you, if you like crazy finishes, you're not going to want to miss this one, because I don't think there's no way we don't finish this without a little bit of a interesting scenario.
Well, Season 1 had to utilize all 3 attempts, and the race still ended under yellow with Danny Cochran making contact with his teammate Vincent Sora. Then Season 2, it was a 7-lap shootout where we got to see Jarrett Talmadge just beat out that of Cody Reed. And now here tonight, first attempt at overtime. It's going to be that of Danny Cochran, that of Ethan Smith, going to be the front 2. Trevor Earhart, Trenton Jump, Tom Bourne, Cedric Hunter, GT Irizarry, John Forbes, Aaron Krolick, and Cody Reed finishing out your top 10 on this start. We've seen some drivers dominating. Mark Whitley really took control of the majority of this race until we had our first green flag pit stop at lap 35. He's been stuck in traffic, hasn't been able to move forward. Nick Crawford dominated for a quick second there. He's back in 14th, stuck where he's at. We saw Tom Bourne get the pole award, but now he's stuck in 5th place and looking to have an opportune chance. But Zach, the lights are off. It's time for us to do our first attempt at overtime.
Yeah, first attempt, and like you said, we had 3 attempts at it in Season 1. I would not be surprised if we use the full extent here also tonight. Danny Cochran is going to hope that is not the case. He's going to hope this thing gets to the checker flag in 1 attempt here, and he's the first one across the line. Ethan Smith's got a lot to say about that. So does Trenton Jump. And Trevor Earhart, too. Look at him. He needs this a lot with the points situation he's in. We'll see how it all shakes out here. And it's also for $170, folks. Get ready.
$170 for the drivers that have that of a red banner, spoiler, and splitter. If they don't have that, they're not racing for the cash. They're just racing for the points. And for a front 2, they're both going for the cash. Trenton Jumps there. Will Jump try to get a little bit of redemption from last year here at Las Vegas? The time will tell as we are green for our first attempt at overtime. Goal, get the white flag, and Danny Cochran once again is pulling away.
Yeah, great jump out front for him, but Trenton Jump going to be trying to jump to the outside of that 0-0 machine as they head down to 1. The 0-0 going to hold on to it. Jump those side by side with Earhart. Think back to last season, it was the 40 or 31 getting into that 46. Could the 46 lead? Looking to come back. Look at Tom Bourne, 3 wide on the bottom.
Ghost Machine, he's in white and he's making the charge. Tom Bourne with 2 tires, now going to be moving up to that a third, getting Trent Jump out of the way. Ethan Smith is caught up to Danny Cochran. They're wrecking. Will the yellow come? It does. We're going to attempt number 2.
Giant wreck here on the front straightaway, and man, oh man, the 41 there of Earhart catching the apron, I think, and just from there, a major incident, man, that really takes out a lot of good trucks here, but Cochran's still holding on to the lead.
You want to know something bizarre here, Zach? The 77, he was back in 15th on that restart, and with all the carnage, he went through and survived. He's going to have to give up a lot of positions because drivers are able to keep on moving, but he was up to 5th for a hot second. But again, he's got to give up some spots, as here's an instant replay. Trevor Earhart ducking it down low, going to have a little bit of a bump from GT Rosari that gets him on the apron, and then from there, it's all lost.
Oh, and you also see behind that there, I believe that was Tamer maybe, and that 81. Or no, that was Forbes actually who lost it and got up into Cedric Hunter. From there, it was just a lot of drivers into it. Eric Stamp. You also got Hicks into it. Kralik.
That's Cody Reed in the pink.
Look at Mark Whitley. Whew.
Just sliding on through. Brady Colley not able to get by. Tamer not able to get by. And then you see the 41 locking it down. Other drivers just not able to come in. McAdams gets into the wall, and Cedric Hunter. Pearl Pooler had nowhere to go. Oh, man. That is a junk field. And Zach, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 drivers, all with required damage now, and all do not have a chance to win and go for a chance for a win here tonight.
Yeah, all that went out for the window for a lot of those drivers, and was a lot of main contenders, man. So just tough ordeal there, for them drivers. But right here again, gonna have another attempt at another restart, and Danny Cochran's gonna have to do it one more time. And this time he's got a little bit of a different group here too. Tom Bourne now also there into that 3rd position after getting up there from 5th. So he's also, remember, racing for the money here. So our top 3, all 3 drivers in the race for this money. This could get interesting. And then look back to 5th there. You got Eric Stamp. What a drive for him. And we could see him possibly getting himself up here and maybe getting that 3rd career win.
Eric Stamp not able to qualify. He was struggling for himself. Started 36th. He is now up to 5th place. Biggest mover of the night is that 53. You see that of the pink machine. That's Cody Reed and Aaron Kralik behind. And Cody Reed, another one of those drivers that had to start on pit road. Had to start in the back half of the field and wasn't able to qualify. But you could just see all the bruises, the scrapes, all on these trucks. Basically, everyone from 5th on back, I should say, all have some type of damage that they're dealing with now.
Yeah, this damage is going to hinder them, but they're going to be sending it either way. So we'll see very well how it works out. But Danny Cochran looking for the redemption here, man, after last season getting into that 46 machine and intentionally wrecking Trent Jump. He's looking to come back here and redeem himself, get the victory. And it's kind of been a redemption arc for Danny. It's been a good portion, and he's really kept it clean out on the racetrack. And right now, leading this field out front, he could be looking to win, where probably he's had one of his most down moments of his iRacing career.
Yeah, that intent wreck really was what put a smudge on his reputation, and it has been him trying to show, hey, I want to be a cleaner driver. I want to race this out with a lot of these drivers. And ever since he's had that change of mentality of, I'm sorry for that incident and I want to get better, he's been caught up with all the wrecks, and it hasn't even been his fault. It's just been incidents that pop up, and he's been doing a great job coming back into this race. But Zach, what's important for the 31 is if he's going to win this race, he might need these cautions to happen quickly on that first lap, because with some of these massive leads that he's been building up, Ethan Smith caught up very quickly there that we saw on that coming to the white flag, and he was right on the back bumper of the 31. With cash on the line, I would wonder if Ethan Smith would be willing to wreck for it.
I've been wondering the same thing, Sam. It's going through my mind. I'm questioning the situations that possibly could pay out. Even Tom Bourne right here behind him, he's probably going to be willing to make a pretty big move. He really sent it on that last restart to the very bottom, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Tom trying to go for this. So this is anybody's game up front. And again, like you said, with Danny jumping out to his big leads like that, Ethan Smith did run up to him very quickly. If Smith and Irizarry, maybe they can get lined up, maybe Bourne, they can get a little bit of momentum heading down this back straightaway and get a big run on this 31 heading down the 3, that's where it could get a little bit spicy coming to that white.
Well, here we go. This is our second attempt at overtime. It is going to be a 2-lap shootout, green-white checkered. If we get to the 1 to go marker and the white flag is out, we will race this thing to the end. But if we do not get to that 1 to go flag marker and a yellow flag comes out, we will then go into attempt number 2 of overtime with another restart. We're hoping that this might be it. Who knows if it will? I think for Danny Cochran, he might hope that we get another restart because the pace car makes the hard left. Overtime attempt number 2. We are green once again.
Another great jump out there, but will it be his detriment? We'll have to see. But it's already getting wild back there, and they're wrecking, I think, almost already.
Almost wrecking, and there they go. Ryan Ferraro is going to be going down low. He stays on the apron. We stay green for now. At the moment, it's Danny Cochran leading at this moment, but he's being caught. It's 00, the 16, this 14. They're all on the back bumper. Here we go, side by side. Chaos for a quick moment, but we keep it green for now. Zach, it's all Danny Cochran, Ethan Smith, Tom Bourne, GT Rosario kind of throwing this one away as the 00's on the back bumper of the 31.
Here it is. White flag, man. 1 more to go. And what does Smith have for Cochran?
It's your right rad white flag in Smith. He dumps it high, and that's exactly what Danny Cochran needs. But Tom Bourne's going to give the shove, trying to give the bump. Here comes the surge. Will the 00 be there at the end? The outside lane's where he needs to go. But Danny Cochran, he's holding on for now. Out of turn number 4, Ethan Smith, he's down low at the quarter panel. He can't spin him. Danny wins.
What a drive. What a moment there. Danny Cochran wins the race and wins the $170. Ethan Smith second and Irizarry third. Wild finish here to Las Vegas, and what a redemption arc back for this 31.
And it wasn't a wreck for the lead coming to the end of the race the way that it's happened for the past 2 seasons. It got cleaned up a lot, but at the end there, a lot of disruption on that last restart. Aaron Kralik misshift, and that's what caused a lot of the pandemonium there at the end going into turn number 1, and lost a lot of drivers' opportunities. But the driver that didn't give up had the launch, had the save, and was able to get the win. It's the 31 of Danny Cochran.
Yeah, he was able to get it done, and he might go back and look at that moment of that early pit stop, doing it a little bit earlier than what everybody else did. That could have very well come back to play out because he had the track position over the rest of the group that they were racing up front, and he was the driver that came out unscathed in that group.
Crazy end of the race. We needed 2 overtime attempts, and the 31 gets to go to victory lane. And for us up in the booth, we're going to step aside for a quick moment. When we come back, it's the post-race show. We'll talk to our top 3, GT Rosario, Ethan Smith, and that driver on your screen, our winner here tonight for the Blackjack Gambler 150, that of Danny Cochran. We'll be back in just a few. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the post-race show here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting for the ISRC Race Car Graveyard Truck Series. Did 2 overtime attempts here at Las Vegas, and it was Danny Cochran that got himself into victory lane. But before we get to talking to Danny, we got 2 other drivers before that. We got 3rd place finisher, going to be that of GT Irizarry in the 14. GT, congratulations on a 3rd place finish. That got chaotic there at the end. But man, what was going through your mind in those overtime attempts?
I just want to finish a race under full power.
Yeah,
That's pretty much it, man. Every race, I mean, I think I've got like one where I finished under full power. So I was just like, I just want to finish, man. That's all I want to do.
I was just looking at the finishes, man. I was just thinking of myself. You probably most likely were just happy to get to the checkered flag here tonight. It's been an unfortunate season for you, man. And you're going to be able to finish 3rd here tonight, and you head off to Dover even next week, where you finished 2nd last week. Do you feel like you can go into Dover with some momentum of getting a finish here, like you said, and getting a full power truck to the end of the race?
As long as we can keep it clean, that's the goal. You just got to keep it clean. But at least at Dover, I think we'll be able to stretch it out a little bit if we get some green flag runs there. We're looking forward to it. I mean, I look forward to the tracks where you got to lift and stuff like that, and tire wear matters. These super speedways and road courses and short tracks just are not my thing. So I'm glad to start getting some tracks like that.
I mean, GT, it's been incredible to see whenever you are able to be up front, some of the moves that you're able to make. But tonight, 3rd place, like I said, at least you were under full power here tonight. Before we let you go, though, the floor is yours for any shout-outs.
Obviously, I mean, you boys, thank you for doing them. You guys put on one hell of a show. You always have, and I appreciate being, part of it. Got to thank the guys here at the ISRC Truck League for putting this on. I know they got a lot that they deal with. Obviously, if you can hear open chat, there's they're catching it from every angle. I don't want to be in their shoes, but hey, that they chose to be the admins, so they get to have the fun sorting things out. And really want to thank Mustang Week too for being on board with the truck still. They actually posted some news this week that even though this past month was their last year of 21 years, they actually sold the rights to it, and somebody's going to carry it over. So it'll be doing it all over again with just different owners. So appreciate them for them being on board here, and also our Cup cars. And that's about it, guys. Oh, ButtKicker. Got to thank ButtKicker too.
That's going to be the 14 machine at GT Irizarry. Congratulations on a 3rd place finish, and good luck next week.
Appreciate it, guys. Good night.
As we go from 3rd place, we go to 2nd place with the 2-tire king. We've got that of Ethan Smith up in the booth with us. Ethan, you were so close. Was there anything else you could have done there at the end to get that win?
I think it would have been a whole different race if going into turn 1, if GT didn't stick his nose in below me. I mean, that's just racing though. It's not his fault at all. I mean, I would have done it if I was in his position. But I was setting up the run to where I can get a run on Danny going down the backstretch and either stick my nose in down low or push him into the corner, and hopefully he'll get loose while he's in the corner. But when he got under me, it just broke all of my momentum, and I have to thank Tom Bourne for pushing me down the backstretch, or I probably wouldn't be here right now talking to you guys. He pushed me back to Danny, and it was I was able to get to Danny's bumper out of 4, but we were already straight, and there's nothing I can do besides blatantly turn him, and I wasn't going to do that. So I like racing with Danny. It was awesome being as close with him as we were. I wish the first 2 green white checkers didn't have any cautions, because it was just me and him up there. But that's just how it goes sometimes.
That is definitely how it goes, man. But I tell you, it's got to be still somewhat nice to get that 2nd place finish here tonight, man, at Las Vegas, especially coming here 2nd in points. Going to have a good points finish with points leader Cedric Hunter finishing 17th, so you're going to gain a lot there. And then also, at one point in this race, back in the 20s, man. So, how does it feel to, late in the race, get your track position there and hold on to it?
Oh, it felt great. I was extremely frustrated. You can't really pass here that much unless you have help, and unless you're around your teammates, which I was at the very beginning of the race. But as the race went on, I was just by myself, and you just can't pass here. I was just really frustrated. I pitted early, hoping that me running quicker lap times will help me be in front of the people that are in front of me before I pit, and because it's so hard to pass, that maybe that would be a big benefit. And I got a caution at just the right time, and I took 2 tires, and I was able to get in front of Cedric Hunter, Brandon Cawley, all those guys that wrecked out not too long ago. And if I took 4, I probably would have wrecked with them. So I'm glad I took 2.
Well, Ethan, it was a crazy race here tonight, and congratulations on a second place finish. And before we let you go, the floor is yours for any shoutouts.
Again, thanks to Tom Bourne for pushing me down the backstretch. Like I said, if GT would have gone lower, he probably could have gone low, and I would have been 4th, and I wouldn't be here. I got to thank Danny Cochran, Hot Lab Designs, for this scheme that I have here. It's the same scheme on all my teammates: John Forbes, Cody Reed, John McAdam. We all just have little bit different colors, and I got to thank John Forbes for helping me back when I was in first at the time, for helping me on restarts and whatnot. That's why I started up high. You guys for putting this on, friends and family, anybody else that's watching.
That's going to be the 00 of Ethan Smith, taking away a second place finish here tonight. Congratulations on that, and good luck heading to Dover next week.
Thank you.
As we go from second place, we go to victory lane with the driver that's happy to be here. That's Danny Cochran. Danny, what a season you have had. And of course, it's Las Vegas of all tracks, the first driver to be a 2-time winner at this course. Congratulations on that. How are you feeling after this one?
Shaking like a leaf, to put it lightly, Sam. It's
Oh,
it's.
my bad, buddy.
Oh, I'm sorry, Zach. I'm just. See, this is like the biggest race I've ever won, so I don't know hardly what to say in this moment. But yeah. So sorry for the dead air, but yeah, I'm shaking all over, dude. That was one of the hardest fought wins I've ever got. Any of the extracurriculars aside, that was some awesome racing from those guys, and thrilled to be able to come out on top of it.
Yeah, it definitely was, Danny. Congrats on the win, man. Definitely able to pull it off here tonight and also win that $170. So that's got to be a good feeling for yourself, also, man. And it's got to bode well here because this season it's had to been tough because you've had great runs, a lot of speed. It's just been getting caught up in incidences that have taken you out of those finishes, man. Take us through it because this has got to bode well for the rest of the season, heading forward for yourself.
Yeah, dude, there's 1 or 2 instances where I should have been on the wrecker heading back to the garage. One of them, the 24, he was trying to pit up ahead of me there, and the 41 got into him whenever he was pulling on the pit road. And then another incident happened between Ethan, the 46, and somebody else right in front of me. Thankfully, we have a league that has some great drivers in it, and everybody was able to straighten it out, and nobody ended up paying for that too harshly, at least where we were at. But yeah, it's winning and money aside, it's finally nice to catch some breaks going my way this season because off the top of my head, I can think of Homestead, Atlanta. I didn't get involved in a wreck at Atlanta, but there was certainly some bad luck there. And Gateway all come to mind on some tracks that have, and Daytona, of course. So I've had some bad luck this season, to say the least, but it's nice to finally see it turn around a little bit.
Danny, it was a crazy race. It's been a crazy season overall for yourself. Congratulations on this win, and the floor is yours for any shoutouts.
Yeah, of course. Teammates at Larson Line, Dakota and Tyler. Those guys rooting for me, cheering me on in the those green-white checkers there, trying to keep me calm best they could, because that was some pretty intense racing, and just all around the anticipation of the cautions and everything. But also, Logan's Lead had them on the truck tonight. Really cool to get them in Victory Lane, as well as Larry Arts Productions and Bluegrass Sports Talk Radio. Happy to get all those guys in Victory Lane finally this season. Feels like it's a little overdue. We've had some really strong trucks, but finally able to get it done and put those guys in Victory Lane. The admin team and Blackjack Racing, those guys putting this together for the shootout for the $170. The Blackjack Gambler was $150. Should have called it the 170, I guess. But those guys putting that together, that was really cool. And you guys for broadcasting, of course.
That's going to be your winner here tonight, Danny Cochran in the 31. Congratulations, Danny, on the win, and good luck heading to Dover next week.
Appreciate it, guys.
As the drivers get to settle down, 2 attempts at overtime. We'll take a look here at our results tonight. But overall, a lot of happy drivers up front. but some caught just unfortunate timings with a lot of cautions that were coming out, Zach. But taking the win, going to be Danny Cochran, Ethan Smith, GT Rosari, Tom Bourne, Mark Whitley, going to be your top 5. Derek Stamp, John Forbes, Alexander Light, Cody Reed, Anthony Gaudio finishing out your top 10. But there's a lot of strong runners that really didn't get the finish that they probably thought they should have gotten.
Yeah, definitely. I think one of the dominant cars tonight, there was a couple of them. I mean, really from the Snowy Desert Racing team. I mean, really, they finished back in 17th with Cedric Hunter, 19th with Nick Crawford, 20th with Christopher Norris, and then back in 26th with Brandon Colley. All 4 of those trucks were up front at one point and looking very, very strong coming down to the green flag stops. It all goes awry right there, 3 wide racing off a pit road with Trenton Jump, Brandon Colley, and Cedric Hunter. And it just shows you how one caution can change the whole fold of one race.
It really can. And for tonight's race, it is going to be 8 races into the season. 9th's going to be at Dover. You got a strong handful of races still to go before this regular season is done. But our 7th different winner of the season is going to be that of the 31, of Danny Cochran. And now the list starts to get a little bit closer on who's in, who's out, and the tightens up. And I got to say, Zach, this season, ISRC, they do it again. Another incredible season that's coming to the wire here with just a couple of more races to go in the regular season.
It really is, Sam, because, man, there's been a lot of races where guys have been caught up in stuff. So, the mix-up between the standings has been so stacked, and it'll continue to be that way. It will narrow out a little bit as we get through these final few races. But I guarantee you, when we head into that final regular season race, we will have 3, 4, 5 guys that are in position points wise to move themselves in or out of that playoff position. So, and you never know, with 7 different winners at this point, how many positions will be available by points. You might have to finish in the top 5, top 10 of points if you really want to make these playoffs.
Gotta hope you hit your marks and your momentum starts to switch up at this point. But for us here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, we give you coverage anywhere from 6 to 5 races a week. And it has been a blast for us up at the booth to be able to cover as many races as we do. And each league put on a different storyline, different action. It's been amazing for us. As the next one going to be tomorrow night for that of the Full Send Racing Series, as well as going to be seeing that of the Wicked Racing League on that of Wednesday. But for us here tonight, thank you for joining us. For myself, Sam Dyer, for Zach Hall, for Robert Moyer, thank you for joining us here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Have a good one. Congratulations, Danny Cochran, and we'll hope to see you next week or throughout the week. Have a good one, everybody.